Chop City a beast with that motherfucking beat right there, man. He was going through some things while he was making that. Maybe a breakup, suicidal thoughts, you know, like a dark beat, huh? Let's go ahead and flip that to the next one, Case. Rest in peace, Cam Flores, man. Rest in peace, King. Chicago, stand up. Nothing but love and respect for this man right here. So we're gonna honor him for the rest of the year. This picture up. And yeah, man. Cam Flores, man. Funniest dudes ever, man. If you guys ever got to see him live, dude was legit. Casey.
It's game time.
Let's go, baby. Yeah, welcome to Hood Stocks. Shee-wee! Sunday evening, baby. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. It's game time. Let's go. Yeah. See everybody in the chat right now. Light it up, baby. What's up with the audio? The audio cutting off? Let me know right now. They say audio cutting out. There we go, baby. Let's go. There you go, guys. See me looking at you? With the slow fade. Look at me while I'm looking at you. You looking at me? So I'm looking at you. You dirty motherfuckers. What's up, my Goonies, man? Today is a glorious day. Today is Sunday, man. And if you're here on this beautiful day of Sunday, what are we at the end of April or something? We're getting ready to hit May.
Yep, the rent is due soon.
Yeah, the rent is due. The rent is due, motherfucker. It's a rap song, guys. Which rap song does that? Your rent's due, motherfucker. They use that sample from and the sample was from come on, man, with fucking Eddie Murphy and Bop 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 and Coming to America.
Okay.
Your rent's due, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, we fixed it. Okay, guys.
Good. It looked good. We sound clear.
We good.
It's
We
crisp.
clear. We clear. Hey, my G's. Back what I was saying, man. If you hearing this, if you seeing this, you're breathing, you are blessed. Whatever you're going through, man, you're super blessed, man. You're super blessed. You ain't laying in a hospital bed. You're super blessed. You know, you might have some problems in your life right now, but you can fix that, right? We can fix that. If you know my mom's husband used to say this, bro. One time I got out the penitentiary and he seen me and he said, what's wrong with you? You know? And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to, you know, this, that. I was kind of like, I was frustrated, right? Frustrated with life, bro. You know what I mean? frustrated with myself. And he goes, can money fix it? I said, probably, yeah. He goes, all right, you good then. Because once money can't fix it, it's a problem, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. As long as you got a pulse and you got a fighting chance, man, honestly.
Yes. I mean, when you're in a predicament where money can't fix something, right? Like some people are stressed out because the rent's coming up, right?
Right.
And then there's someone that's stressed out because cancer has consumed their body.
Yeah, that's tough. You got it.
Now, one thing money can fix, the other thing is God.
You got to pray. You got to get on your knees and pray, man.
Are you a religious man, sir?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I believe God is everywhere, man. He can't explain this phenomenon without anything else.
Let's go, man. I haven't even introduced this man. I mean, do I gotta introduce this man? Yes, I gotta introduce this man. Even though you guys already know who this man is right here, let me do my job and introduce this man. Today we got a young legend in the building, man. The accomplishments that this man has met is absolutely amazing, and it's a testament. It's a testament to this. This man is here for the long run, right? I mean, so today, here at Hoodstocks, the marathon continues. With that said, everybody, raise up off your motherfucking futons and give it up for Jorge Peniche.
Peniche. We good though. We good.
My bad, bro. My bad. The last name is very, very unique.
Yeah, it's from Yucatan. It's
Yucatan.
From Mérida, yeah.
Okay.
That's where the origin is from. And then it probably traces back even further. There's a port in Portugal called Peniche. So maybe there's, some lineage all the way back there.
Have you ever done the ancestry?
I did.
Did it tell you like you were Spaniard or anything?
Yeah, well, for most Mexicans that's the case. Mine was like skewed heavy on obviously native Mexican, and then a good 30% was Spaniard, and then a smorgasbord of different things from African to Jewish, Japanese, Italian. It had a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm 50% Ashkenazi Jew, and then on the other is Spaniard, indigenous, Mexican, all that stuff that comes with that. You know what I mean? I'm half and half. I'm a mutt, bro. You know what I mean?
That's how we all are, man.
Yeah.
Anyone that claims to be otherwise, I mean, they would have to live in an isolated tribe.
Yeah, right? An isolated tribe. Thank you.
China.
Thank you, brother. You know, growing up though, man, I always wanted to be like, I was ashamed of my Jewish side, you know what I mean? Because I was raised, you know what I mean? In Mexicano environment, Latino environment, my primos, here goes one of my cousins right here, and I was ashamed of until I got older and I embraced and I said, well, that's a power of my nationality, of my bloodline, of my, you feel me?
Every
Jewish side,
culture
bro.
has a story, and one to be celebrated.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
It's the human story, man.
It's the human story.
That's it, man.
Do you trip when motherfuckers start by like, you ain't Mexican or,
I mean.
Because Mexicans are very judgmental.
We are, man. I mean, this is an age-old conversation, me being Mexican and having grown up here, not being Chicano, not being Mexican-American. But, in terms of like lifestyle, in terms of a lot of things adopted, I think I, represent very much where I come from in Mexico City, and very much, the lifestyle that's lived here, that's Chicano. But for me, at the end of the day, I look at the human race, man. Because when when the aliens take off the mask, everybody's gonna say, "Oh yeah, we're all one." That's the reality.
Let's go, baby.
And it takes things like that to happen for people to realize like we're tripping.
Well, you know what? I think the aliens are
They're here.
I've said this before. I believe they're here, bro, and they come in different shapes and forms and different colors. I think LeBron James is an alien.
He's a freak of nature, man.
Freak of nature. He's an alien, bro. I think Elon Musk, he's an alien.
The irony, right? And him not liking illegal aliens.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And he's an illegal alien himself. The irony, right? I get you, bro.
Listen, man.
Yeah.
We all inhabit the world together.
Well, he had a job description and he's just doing his job. You know what I mean? Sometimes it is what it is and that's what happens. But I get it.
I guess, man.
Yeah, for reals. I mean, what would you consider yourself since you were born in Mexico City? You came out, I believe, I did a little homework on you, brother. You know what I mean? As I should. You know what I mean? Having a prominent figure like yourself, man. 2 years old, you came here?
2, yes, sir.
Okay, 2 years old. So would you consider yourself? I mean, you're not a Mexican national, right?
I am a Mexican.
You
national.
are a
I was born
Mexican.
in Mexico City.
Okay, excuse me on that. So you are, but like sometimes people are like, well, I hate to say it like this, but what do you're Mexican American, right?
I mean, I'm a U.S. A permanent resident. I'm not a citizen quite yet.
Okay.
But through and through, in terms of like how I was raised in my home, I would say it's very much traditional Mexican.
Old school, huh?
Yeah, but again, we were talking earlier before we went live. All of my neighbors were Chicano. You had one of the guests. It's Jap. He was oftentimes there because his sister was my neighbor.
Nice.
And so a lot of that influence rubbed off on me inherently. The oldies, a certain type of food. I mean, he actually just called me after he did the first Hood Stocks interview. He sent me the recipe for his chorizo spaghetti. Which is, I don't think it gets more Chicano. I don't think it gets more Chicano than that. I had never heard of that.
I've never heard that in my life, bro.
It's delicious.
And I've had him twice on the show.
No.
He's never talked about his fucking.
He's not gonna get a recipe, but next time, ask him to bring the chorizo spaghetti. It's something special.
It sounds dangerous, bro.
No, it's fire. It's delicious.
It sounds dangerous, bro. Might blow my backside out.
No,
dog.
you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. Just have one bowl then.
Just one bowl.
One bowl. Don't go too far.
Okay. And so sometimes I don't want to get into all that, but I like what you said in the beginning in regards to when the aliens take off their mask, we're going to be one human race.
That's it, man.
That's powerful and that's real. I've been on job sites where people see me and they're like, hey, bro, like, what are you? And I've told them that too. I said, I'm human, dog, because sometimes I get tired of that because sometimes people, they look at me and they're not sure,
right.
And I'm always asked that question, and I've answered it like that. I'm human, bro. What's happening?
Human is great, but there's nothing wrong with having national pride. I don't know if you've been back home, either side, but me, I've recently got the opportunity to go back after over 30 years.
34 years.
34 years, yes, to be exact, and it blew my mind. It was amazing. Mexico City was a sprawling metropolis, kind of like New York City on steroids. Where New York City has a population, I think, of 8-9 million people, Mexico City has over 20 million people.
Yes.
And the food is amazing. I mean, everything that you would pay, top dollar over there is like kind of run of the mill. Everything from the food vendors to the restaurants, everything's amazing. I don't know. I think it's like I've always heard of the lore of, the food in Mexico, specifically street vendors, but now restaurants, it almost seems like there's been like a culinary renaissance over there.
Yes.
And everything is top notch. It's amazing. And the people are dope.
So when you went out there, after 34 years of being here, and you are, like you said, a Mexican national, did you feel like a Chicano when you went out there?
To a degree. I mean, maybe in speaking my Spanish, there might be certain things that mannerisms or certain vernacular that doesn't translate like traditional, like Mexico City. So there are probably things there, but I mean, at the end of the day, my passport says Mexico. So it is what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%, brother, 100%. Your passport says Mexico, dog. You know what I mean? Wow, you've had I wanna touch on a couple things that you've done, and you said speaking on what we're talking about right now. After 34 years, you went back. Why did it take 34 years to go back to Mexico City, bro?
I was undocumented, for the greater part of my life. It was one of those things. We just didn't have an avenue, for residency. You
have family out there? I mean,
we do have family.
Okay.
My aunt actually stayed with us at the Airbnb that we stayed out there. That's my dad's sister, younger sister. But yeah, we have some family out there still.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real nice though. They showed us around everything, and we got to go to some pretty significant family landmarks. One was the house or the apartment in which I lived from birth to age 2.
Yeah.
So that was pretty dope. I had always heard stories about it,
Describe that. What did that look like? Were you able to go inside? Or
yeah.
What was it?
Yeah. So we have a tenant there that lives there. It's a college professor and his daughter. And they were gracious enough to open up the doors and let us go in. But I mean, it's a quaint spot. It's small. It's nothing. It wasn't nothing. I had imagined it maybe just a little bit bigger, but it was about 400 square feet, 2 bedrooms. It had been changed a lot from what I was told, from what it was originally kind of laid out. But it was nice. I mean, it's apartment structure.
My dog said 400 square feet, 2-bedroom. I mean, I think my living room is 400 square feet.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
that gives you some context, to kind of frame everything out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was nice though. I mean, I liked being able to see it finally. It was something that I had savored to see. For the majority of my life. All of my life, to be able to go touch the soil, go taste the food, go pay respects to my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. I got to go do that because when she passed away, the story of a lot of people that are undocumented, you don't get an opportunity to go back home.
Yeah.
Because of conditions, I mean, you can go back home, but you just can't come back to this home.
Yeah. Well, especially now, it's a whole lot harder.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend anybody step out right now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
How things going. It's too sensitive.
So you feel like you came full circle by making that visit?
Oh, yeah. No, it's a crazy sensation to describe. I would best describe it as like, I felt like I did, in fact, come back home. And when I came back here, although all of my life has taken place here,
Yeah, so
I felt like I left my home
Yeah.
again.
Yes.
And I was only there for a week.
Yeah.
I was just there for 1 week, and coming back here, I just felt like, damn, like it's cool. I love it here. I love LA. I love the US, but just felt like I had abandoned something.
No, I feel that. I mean, would you ever think about maybe moving back?
I would have a vacation home for sure, Mexico City.
And in order to own property out there, you have to be a Mexican national,
yep.
right?
And I checked that box off, so it's
Yeah,
good.
baby.
It's good. No, I would
Yeah.
though. Mexico City's amazing. I mean, it's funny because we were blessed enough to get a really nice Airbnb. It was like 4 stories, 6 bedrooms.
Yeah.
And my sons were, and they had 2 guards. And my sons were just like in love. They're like, man, we got to move out here. I'm like, this is not how everybody lives, Papa.
Yeah.
Like, this is an Airbnb 1 week experience. This probably cost some bread.
Why 2 guards, bro?
2 guards?
You said 2 guards?
Yeah, 2 shifts. So they had 1 guard like at the floor level
Of the
ground level.
Airbnb.
Yeah,
and and that came with the Airbnb. It's not something that came with your camp or with you.
Yeah, no. It comes with the Airbnb. Mexico City's super safe.
So yeah, of course.
Despite the rule, like, granted, I mean, if you're gonna you want to get in some shit, you're gonna find some shit.
Yeah, anywhere you look for trouble.
Anywhere.
100%, yeah.
But no, that was kind of like part of, I guess, the security team that they got there. But that was theirs. That was the
Well,
grounds.
shout out to them, bro, for making motherfucker feel secure, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was a little predicament that happened with one of them. One of the guys, what's it called? Appealed some money from my father-in-law's room.
Oh man.
Yeah, because they had access to the building. And I always put shit away. I'm like, I don't care where the fuck I'm at, man.
Yeah.
I gotta put some money. But my father-in-law just called me. I had probably midway into the trip, I did a same day turnaround trip to Atlanta for a speaking engagement with my team. And so we spoke at InvestFest. And then when I come back, my father-in-law, is calling me at the airport. He's like, man, I think this guy stole some money from my room. And he's like, how do you know? He's like, because he took, I guess, a certain, like 50 pesos or whatever, 100 pesos that he left. And then he thought maybe I misplaced them. So he put another, another amount of money, another 50 pesos. And then it showed up missing.
Shit, man.
And then when I come back, I finally land. The guy that's the security. He's trying to, he kind of exposed himself. He's like, yeah, man, I never go into the house or anything. I said, bro, I never asked you.
Yeah.
I never asked you. So I just told my father-in-law, like, just put the stuff away, But he was pretty upset. But things like that happen, like.
Well, it's unfortunate because we've had some guests on here, bro, that reside in Mexico, bro.
Yeah.
And they say when they see tourists. And let's be honest, bro, you were looked at as a tourist, right?
Sure.
You're in an Airbnb. They say the first thing that's going through their head is how are we going to appeal them for money? How are we going to get them for money?
Right.
And that's unfortunate, brother. I mean, that Mexican nationals are preying on Mexican U.S. citizens. Not in this case, but
right.
It happens frequently. I hear, right?
Right. I mean, that was part of 2 things came into factor. One was that my aunt was with me, so she already knows the movement over there. It's usually good to be there with a local. And then 2, in terms of like someone upselling me on anything, I'm super frugal. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get an extra peso out of me.
Unless you get pulled over on that highway and shit, I mean, right?
Well, not. We were in Ubers. I've had that experience. That was actually my first time actually back to Mexico. That was with my team. We went down to a manufacturing plant in Ensenada. And so when we drove in, that same experience you just described. You know,
Yeah.
get pulled over, you know, pick your pockets and on your way. But the guy that we were traveling with, he does that route like 2 times a week. So he already knew like the play.
Yeah, he said
Steps out the car.
Yeah.
I'm working. This not, you know, I don't got the bread. This is what I got. Cool. And we peeled off and we're gone.
There it is there, man.
Yeah.
Just get it out the way, man. Yeah, so he already
It's
seen
unfortunate though that happens, but it is what it is.
And so this time you were out there for to run a marathon.
To run the marathon, yeah.
And prior to that, you had did the LA marathon.
Yep.
It's something you're doing within the camp.
Yep.
Well, I mean, how long have you been doing that for?
Well, we started we ran our first marathon last year, March of last year in 2024. It was something that we did to honor and commemorate Nipsey, because Hussle always talked about running, you know, not only the figurative marathon, but the literal marathon. He talked about doing it, and I think he would have done it, actually. I think his trajectory was like, for sure he would have ran that marathon. He was just like a free spirit, you know. He was just like a person that once he set his mind to something, he did it. So as a way to honor it, you know, our team collectively decided like we gotta do this from, you know, last year and moving forward. And so 2024 was our first time running. You know, Black Sam ran, I ran, a couple other members of our team ran, and we also assembled a running team of maybe about 60 total runners from across the country.
Wow.
You know, that participated on behalf of the Neighborhood Knit Foundation. And yeah, I mean, it was an amazing experience. It was my first time doing any type of long distance running like that. Truth be told, I could have probably trained a little bit better.
Yeah.
I do strength training like 3 times a week, play ball 3 times a week. So I was in decent shape.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps, you know, to have, you know, thousands of runners running alongside you, you know, and then having, you know, your fellow Angelinos lining the street, you know, cheering you on, water stations. It's like a big party, honestly. It's fun.
I'd like to maybe one day potentially get myself in shape to do something like that. Obviously, well, I would say for a cause, because that would give me the drive to, you know, really step up, something above me. Sometimes what motivates us is to do something, you know, above ourselves, right?
Yeah, for sure.
A cause, right? A good cause, you know, and obviously you're doing a good cause in remembrance and keeping the dream alive of Nipsey Hussle. You know, I mean, the marathon continues, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the specific cause for the Neighborhood Knit Foundation is the original store on 3420 West Lawson, right, where the marathon store is. That whole purchase is owned by the family. So that property is going to be converted into a foundation, like a community center.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so the family still owns that.
The family purchased that in 2018. Hussle purchased that. So that's the family, that's the estates, and now that's becoming the Neighborhood Knit Foundation. It's a community center that's going to serve the Crenshaw district.
Nice, beautiful, brother.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
That's you know, all money raised, you know, for all the participants that pledge, you know, for the LA marathon runs, all that money goes back there to that.
That's amazing, and it goes back to the
foundation.
The foundation, and the foundation takes care of
Crenshaw, kids from the Crenshaw district.
Okay.
So right now we're doing remodeling. We're gonna have a music studio where the old Master Burger was at. The clothing store is still going to be the clothing store, but it's not going to be open for commercial retail. It's just going to be for the students that are the members of the Neighborhood Knit Foundation. Those kids are going to be able to go in there and get clothing for back to school, or just get clothing in general. The barber shop that was going to be opened up in 2019 that we didn't get an opportunity to open was Steve's Barbershop, which is in commemoration of one of our founders, Stephen Donaldson Fats, right? Or Stephen Fats Donaldson, excuse me. And that's, you know, Fats was a critical member of the team.
I heard Nipsey talk about him in
interviews.
interviews.
that was his right hand. That was
Okay.
his right hand. Like I said, without Fats, you know, none of this would happen, you know. So we have a barbershop that we had erected, you know, to commemorate him. That barbershop is going to be used for free cuts for the kids. Then there's Baba Leo's Fish Shack, which was a restaurant we had plans on opening as well. That's going to be open, you know, to provide food for the kids as well that are part of the program. And then we're going to have a STEM center there as well.
A STEM center.
Yeah.
STEM.
Yeah.
STEM cells.
No, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Okay.
So basically, it's like the new curriculum
Okay.
that kids need for the modern era.
Nice.
Outside of, the antiquated, school system, curriculum, academic curriculum.
Absolutely. So it helps them to get to the next level.
It gives them all of the tools and resources, because what we feel as part of the foundation is that the big change agent for somebody that, from any walk of life is having resources available to you early on. Important. So that you can trial and error. You can figure out what it is you're passionate about, what fuels you.
It's amazing, bro. Absolutely, man. It's all about the youth, man. Paying it forward.
It is, man. Honestly, we don't feel that nobody is endowed with more than, genius than the next person. I think everybody has genius in them. It's just a matter of being able to hone in on that. Creating a safe space for kids, that might come from a challenging environment, which we all know. In South Central, is a lot of variables and gravity that you got to deal with, to try to dream and dream big. And we believe everybody deserves to dream beyond the circumstances.
Let's go, my dog. Let's go. So how was it running? And I was on the way into the studio, man. I was jumped on your Instagram, and I was watching one of your videos that's on actually a post.
Yeah.
And you were talking about. You were actually running. What did you have? Did you have like a camera or something? Was that
it was like a low GoPro?
Yeah, well, that's cool,
one of
man.
Our videographer. Yeah,
that's tight. Okay, so I seen you running. I was just like, for me, that inspires me, bro, to just see someone be able to run so many miles, you know what I mean? And someone that looks like us, right? That resembles the streets, the city, right? And it just tells you, man, that anybody can do that, because it's kind of like it's a little intimidating in a sense to, like, how many miles was that, bro?
26.2. So all marathons are 26.2. Now,
what the fuck?
I got to clear the air on that, right? Because... Yeah. Have you ever been to a marathon? I had never been, other than me participating in it for the first time. I never cared for it.
Bro. Well, it's not. Well, let's be honest, bro. It's not something that is. I don't want to say if it's welcome within the inner city, like marathons, right? Because when you go to the marathons, you see a certain. Demographic. Thank you, brother. Okay. You see it. Is that safe to say? You see a demographic within these marathons?
Man, you see all walks of life. Honestly,
okay.
To me.
And that's just, I'm speaking from an innocent place where I don't know, bro.
Right.
Please educate me.
I didn't know either. That's why when I tell people, like, you can do it too, it's because literally every demographic is represented when you run the marathon. You'll see it from young and old to wide and skinny to tall and short, to people that have physical handicaps, all ethnicities. Everybody's present there.
Yeah, and when people are running this marathon, let's dive a little deeper into this. When people are running this marathon, is some people might be doing it for themselves, and some people are doing it for organizations.
Both. They participate, I think, in both capacities. I think some people run as part of like a run club, like we have. Some people run for foundations. Some people run for a cause. Some people run, to prove themselves, like a mind over matter type of deal. Where I can conquer 26.2. And I mean, again, 26.2 sounds intimidating. If I were to tell you run 26.2 on your own accord, throw some headphones on and run to wherever that destination is that marks 26.2, that's a daunting task. But if you do a 26.2 alongside thousands of people, and there's water stations every 2 miles, and there's people cheering you on like you fucking Rocky, it's a different experience. It's a whole different experience, and there's something about that adrenaline, that drives you and fuels you and pushes you. And in reality, if you're a strong-minded individual, your mental fortitude is gonna push you. But I will tell you, I would recommend having, some strong legs on there, because that's what goes first.
Yeah, AKA knee braces.
Yeah, man.
Well, for me, bro, I'm 48 years old, dog. You know what I mean?
So you got knee problems?
I mean, on my left knee, I'm starting to have knee problems. Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, we were just talking about you stem cells would be good. You should go Panama or TJ.
I'd like to, brother. I'd like to.
I've heard miracles about it. I'm thinking if whenever something happens, I'm going, that's my first destination.
Well, when I think about stem cells, I think about my homeboy Noodle from my neighborhood. He's paralyzed from his waist down, man. And one of the dreams that I have one day is to get him to Panama or TJ and get him stem cells. And because he got a little bit of feeling in his legs, man. And shout out to my dog Noodle, right? Cuzzo Noodle, man, that's my boy right there. I love that dude. He got shot up, and for a lot of years, you would see me in the neighborhood, bro, carrying that dude, bro, and carrying him, put him in my car, put him out the car, you know what I mean? Like, shit, I love that dude. And shout out to my dog if you're listening, or any of my homies from the turf. So the difference between, I'd like to ask you this, brother. The LA Marathon, and then now you're in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Was it a little bit of different running in Mexico City?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think in terms of runners, I think there's 2 or 3 times the amount of runners in Mexico City than there is in LA.
There's more runners.
More runners.
Why is that?
I think just by sheer numbers of people in the country. I mean, in Mexico City, there's, like I said, over 20 million people, if I'm not mistaken. LA, I don't know if we represent that many people. I don't think so.
Okay.
So I think they kind of open it up a little bit more. Here, I think they have a limit. Like once they sell all of the bibs, it's gone. It's over. You can't get into the marathon formally. But yeah, Mexico City was amazing. I mean, what's kind of cool, like there, that the bibs, they actually have your name on it. Here, it's just a number. Over there has a your name and a number. So it's a bunch of strangers just cheering your name on as you're running. You know, like as you're limping or you're going through it, which I did. Like maybe halfway into it, I started getting like leg spasms, bad. And I didn't have that in LA. I thought it was gonna be smooth, and I started having leg spasms. And a lot of people thought, well, maybe it's because of the altitude. You know, because Mexico City's a mile up in altitude. So I didn't have any issues the whole time being there. But when I trace it back to what could have been the issue with the leg spasms, I took that trip to Atlanta, that round trip.
Got you.
And so I was just naive. I'm thinking like, you know, like most men do. I'm like, bro, I'm not fucking flying the plane. I'm going to be sitting down. I would be doing the same thing the day before the marathon, you know. But I think that contributed to it. But in terms of running in Mexico City, everything was in Spanish. You know, so that's definitely, you know, a big difference from LA. So you are able to run some parallels with LA, where you see signs that have certain sayings that you probably are likely to see, you know, in any marathon you participate in, but it's just in Spanish. Instead of here, there's not national pride where like people are waving U.S. flags, but in Mexico City, there's like people waving big Mexican flags. So that was pretty dope. You know,
you'd be a fool to be running flying an American flag right there, right?
No, but what I'm saying, they don't wave. What I'm trying to draw here was here in LA, there's no U.S. flags. There's no national pride shown.
But I'm saying in Mexico, if you're flying a fucking American flag, it's like, bro.
Well, right now it might be a little tumultuous, but hey, man, everybody could fly whatever flag they want high. You know what I'm saying? You're entitled to that.
Easier said than done, I'd say. That way.
If you were, it'd be cool, man.
It would be cool.
Mexico City is cool, man. They embrace everybody, brother. It's
Yeah.
love, man. And there's a little bit of everybody, and there's probably a lot of Americans living there now.
100%.
Especially after the pandemic.
Yeah.
People got hip to it.
Okay. And so I wanted to ask you about this too. You previously talked a little bit about the food. You said it was delicious.
Yes.
So in comparison, bro, like so LA, you know, LA food, now you're in Mexico City. I mean, Is there a big difference in regards to the flavors, the food?
Yeah, let me see. Where can I go? Mariscos. I went to a spot called Mi Compa Chava. Mi Compa Chava was really good. I mean, there's some good spots here. You know, there's like Connie's. There's a couple other spots I go to. One of my homie, Oscar, he has El Camarón Borracho, I believe is in Watts, right across the street from the Imperial Courts. He has it in his backyard. It's just pretty fire. But tacos definitely are fire over there. I don't know if it's the practice for produce here versus over there. That might make a bit of a difference, but it's definitely just a notch above, you know. But we got some good tacos here. I mean, LA runs on tacos,
so when you run a marathon like that, you're doing it for the foundation. So when you went to Mexico City, you had the runners that you had out here in LA.
No, I just went solo.
Oh,
I
you
went
solo
dolo because I went on the hills of what's called runner's high. So after someone finishes the marathon, they feel like super enthusiastic, like let's conquer the next one, let's do the next one. That's the runner's high.
What's next?
And so my sentiment, I told my team, I was like, I'm gonna go to Mexico City and run the Mexico City Marathon, not knowing exactly when it was. And this is like 2 or 3 days after the marathon. So I search it up, and I come to find out it's in August. So I'm like, all right, we're running in August in Mexico City. And yeah, that's how that went down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope, bro. Well, congratulations on that, man.
Yeah,
That's a great accomplishment, man.
I love it. You're gonna run the next one, man. You're good. You're good, man. Trust me. At least go watch it, and you'll understand what I'm talking about, man. You'll see guys your size, some guys that are big body. You know, you're not a big body. You just, you know what I'm saying? But you'll see it, and you'll be like, wow, they're running and they're going.
They can do that.
Some people run barefoot.
Yeah.
Some people run in full mascot outfits, like full costume. Some firefighters run in their full uniform, carrying a flag, an American flag, actually.
That's dope.
Yeah. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so, also too, what you've had going on, and I wanna speak in recent time before we rewind the track.
Sure.
And to get to your story, brother. Marathon Burger.
Yes.
You guys just opened that up. Where's that exactly at?
It's on Melrose and Gardner.
Okay.
On Melrose Corridor, West Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right there where all of the, the stores are at.
Congratulations on that, man.
Man, thank you. That was a crazy feat by the team. We had talked about it before for years about getting into the food space, but the actual burger concept conversation came about maybe about a year and a half ago. My brother Black Sam, he started singing the smash burger craze and came to the office and like, bro, we're gonna open up a Marathon Burger. He tells the team, and I said for sure. I was kind of like concerned because I'm like, man, we got a ton of projects and we're a tight knit group. It's not like 100 employee team. Just working every day. It's like 6-7 people every day to day. Knocking things out. So
yeah.
When he told us about that, I'm like, all right, cool. Anything we set our minds to, we execute well on it. We got a special team. And sure enough, we started with like logo design, trying to figure out what it's gonna look like. Then a mock menu, what the burgers can be. Started putting together like a design of what the exterior of a building could look like if it's a Marathon Burger branded. And all of that went into play, and then we printed it out. It went to a manila folder, and it kind of got stored away for a little bit. The conversation would resurface, but then other projects would take precedence that were more urgent at the time.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening around last year, and what was it? I think it was in around August, September. The old Fat Burger on Crenshaw and Slauson, which we had done some like cross-pollination branding back in 2013 when they first popped up. The owner of that Fat Burger ended up changing all of his signage overnight from a Fat Burger franchise to a store called Marathon Premium Burger. This is purely coincidental. We hadn't announced anything on our end. And so our phone started ringing off the hook. We started getting texts, emails, DMs, the works. Everybody, some people congratulating, like, hey, man, it's dope to have you guys back in the hood. Other people saying, like, hey, bro, like, is this you guys? Because this doesn't really add up. It doesn't look like how you guys wrote things out. And so we were met at a crossroads, like, do we completely, like, put this guy, on blast, or do we take the high road, cease and desist, like you would for anybody that infringes on your IP?
Yeah.
And then really we took the high road and said, look, man, you got to take that shit down. This is not going to work out for what we're doing because you're confusing people. You can call your restaurant whatever you want to call it. You just can't call it anything Marathon,
Keep
brother.
the Marathon out that
And so really for us, it acted up as a wake-up call, like, good ideas don't last for long, and we got to press forward on this thing. So my brother Sam was like, bro, let's just put together a graphic and say Marathon Burger coming soon.
Yeah.
And so we throw up the graphic, a ton of people get excited, and as this graphic goes up, it acted like kind of like a bad signal of sorts because people within our network started, reaching out, tapping in, and all that good stuff. And our boy Pusha Rob from YG's camp knew a couple people, and he helped connect the dots on that Melrose location. And that Melrose location was presented to us, and of course we were excited. But the next question was, can we afford it?
Yeah.
Because we're completely independent. We don't have any outside capital investors. And so we got to the table with the owner of the property, and we were able to crunch some numbers and make it make sense. And by the grace of God, we were able to get the keys around the beginning of September. And so now we have the keys. Now as soon as we get the keys, the team gets to work on the remodeling on the exterior, the interior, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And while we're doing all of this stuff, Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon is doing a promotion for the Krabby Patty collab. 20 years of SpongeBob.
Yeah.
And so they approached us about doing it. We don't even have a restaurant open. We don't have a burger. We have no staff. We have nothing, right? It's just an idea right now that's, kind of being formed as it's progressing.
Which can be potentially give you financial backing, right?
Not really. No.
Okay.
They just come in with packing and promotion.
Gotcha.
And that's it.
Gotcha.
And no ingredients, nothing. Like that's the boxes, the packaging, and the promo. Like you're one of the people participating in this type of activation, right? This promotion. So we signed on to do it. We keep our head down. We're prepping everything, for a potential grand opening at some time. We're doing the remodeling, trying to get the burgers right, trying to get the staff right. And so now the tail end of September is coming up, and the 1st of October is coming. And, Sam brings it up to the team, like, bro, hey, what's up with when is that like Krabby Patty thing that we signed up for?
Yeah.
And so we look it up. It's October 8th when that Krabby Patty collab starts. We're like at the first week of October. And so in my head, I'm thinking like, man, that ship has sailed. And fortunately, Sam was just very adamant, like, no, we got to press forward. Like, we don't got the luxury to pass this one up.
Yeah.
So we got to make it work. And I love him for that, because 9 out of 10 people or 10 out of 10 people would have been like, bro, we're not ready for that.
Yeah.
But he was, he was just like, no, we got to make it happen. So we made a couple of calls to two of our aces up our sleeve, Chef Eddie and Chef Adrian,
Nice.
who both were executive chefs at Catch. Actually, Chef Adrian is still executive chef at Catch, but these guys, are phenomenal chefs, and they can cook virtually anything under the sun. So when you tell them burgers, they tell you, what kind and what kind of bread. They bring like an assortment of 12 different types of bread you didn't even know existed,
right?
And different blends of meat, and just they really helped fast track what we needed to do at that time. And so with Chef Eddie specifically for the Krabby Patty, he helped us formulate the ingredients and the recipe for everything in a matter of maybe 2 or 3 days. While all of that's happening, we're putting together promotional material, getting everything set up, and come October 8th, we opened up our doors, and fortunately enough, it was a massive success, both because people wanted to support Marathon Brand. Second part is because of where the restaurant is situated. And then third part because of the nostalgia and brand familiarity of SpongeBob. So a lot of kids, a lot of families, everybody was sitting at the same table, and it was beautiful.
Can you explain to me a little bit about the you said Nickelodeon them create the packaging. I mean, what is exactly the collaboration with Nickelodeon in the Krabby Patty? Like, is it a competition or something?
It's not a competition. It's more or less like they present an idea. Like, look, we'll bring the box packaging, the wrappers, the fry holder, the clamshell box for the Krabby Patty.
Okay.
You put in it your combo, your meal that fits whatever it is. So what a lot of like the partnering restaurants did, they went like, I think they went off the well-paved road of trying to make it look kind of cartoonish, and they made burgers that were like this big, and
your mouth just
big
this
old
big.
patties, like the old Fuddrucker, beef patties.
Fuddruckers, let's go, baby. Hey.
So we stayed tried and true to the smash burger. The ingredients that we added that I guess were unique were our special sauce. The special sauce has a African spice that's secret, to what we do.
Okay.
And then we do house-made pickles. So that makes a big difference. They're not soggy. They got that nice little crisp. And then we also added Fresno peppers, for a flavor profile. So
Were they pickled?
what's that?
The Fresno peppers?
Fresno pepper? No.
Okay.
No. So all of those things, combined, man, it worked.
It was a wrap, huh?
It was a wrap. People loved it. Even the company that was kind of running point on these activations with these different restaurants, sung high praise to what we were doing. They say we were up there, the top ones, because a lot of them, they probably just ate it just for the camera and then just put it to the side because, they were just doing, I think, a little too much.
Yeah.
And we just did it the right way, and I think people, appreciated it.
Well, let's talk about a burger, bro. A burger is very, very important. And if you're in California, and I'd say the U.S., period, man, there's a lot of burger joints. There's a lot of people trying to master kind of like a simple. It's not a sandwich. It's a burger, right? But a burger it's got to be made a right way. And then I've had the I believe what you call this. Casey, help me out with the smash burger, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is sometimes potentially a really, really big patty of a burger. You know, with my experience on having a smash burger, you know, but burgers are very, very important, and simplicity sometimes is good. But you can still miss. You can still, you know, what I mean,
miss a marker for sure.
You can still miss the mark with simplicity. So, man, burgers probably sell more than tacos in California. Maybe not. I don't know.
California as a whole, maybe. LA probably
Tacos, yeah. But
the price point.
The price point. Thank you, brother. But I'm just trying to say how important a good burger is. It is super important. Like I you know, how many throughout the week, if somebody is going out to eat, or even if they're cooking at home, you know, I say 9 times out of 10 throughout the week in the average household, there is a burger that is implemented in the menu, you know, and everybody loves a good burger. So we got In-N-Out. What's the other one, Casey, that I like?
Oh my God, you like the Habit, bro.
I like the Habit,
Habit's
bro.
cool.
I like Habit burgers, bro.
I'm a hater.
Are you a hater? You're a Habit hater?
Yeah,
you look like a Habit hater, bro. You know what I mean? Sometimes I see a Habit hater when I can see him a mile away, and he's for sure one of them. But a burger is so important because when you go get a burger and it's a bad burger, you will never go to that spot again. But if you're craving a burger and you go and have a good burger, you're always gonna circle back, and sometimes you're gonna navigate the time because you might be living over here within the city, and you're like, I ain't gonna commute during this time because it's gridlock within the city,
right?
You know, so we're gonna get this burger, but babe, we gotta get the burger through this time, and so we will go out our way for a good burger. And I don't mean to be long-winded about a burger, but a burger is super important, man, and in our everyday life sometimes, you know what I mean? A good burger is important. And you guys got the burger right how long did it take to get that burger right? Was it you and Black Sam right there? Like, all right, chef, what you got?
The entire team. The entire team was very critical. You know, everybody has different palates, you know, for what they like. But we were just trying to find the one that we all loved. And I think, we were burgered out. We ate burgers like for weeks. You know, different types of bread, different types of beef, everything, all different types of ingredients, different ways of preparing it. And it took a while, but we got it right, man. And it's really dope to see, you know, people embrace it the way they are. And what we love about doing food is it's a exciting space because everybody eats it. Everybody comes to the table and eats, and we have a pretty solid menu. You know, we got burgers, we got chicken sandwiches, we got shrimp baskets, we got chicken strips,
wings, right?
The wings are fire. That's what I eat all the time, honestly.
Okay, I'll be honest. I watched the documentary that you had on your Instagram about the marathon burger.
Yeah.
Let me tell you 2 things. One thing was that after I watched it, I immediately got up and went to go buy a cheeseburger.
Yeah. You got
Literally
hungry.
right after. But I love the story where Sam was talking about how him and Nip grew up in a kitchen cooking
at the Bayou Grill.
At the Bayou Grill. And they had like secrets, and there's certain menu items that are there but that are from their past that they always enjoyed.
Yeah. No, Sam is committed. Sam is in the kitchen. Sam you'll find in the kitchen. This is not like a traditional situation, you know, where it was like a good business move. Like he's invested into the kitchen.
What's the brand?
Not only the brand, though. There's a lot of people that are investing in the brand, but the CEO doesn't get into the kitchen to cook.
100%. Yeah. No, I get that.
And it was like a pastime with his brother.
That too.
Yes.
It's therapeutic, as he explained it. He went on my wife's show and he explained that, and I was there present. I was like, damn, I never thought about that.
Would you say your wife?
Yeah.
Your wife what?
My wife, Sam went on to my wife's show, to Brown Bag Mornings on Power 106.
Yeah.
Shout out to her.
Yeah.
Sam was recounting the story about being in the kitchen, how it is therapeutic for him. And so that was pretty dope. I had never asked him about that. I just thought, my brother, is the type to roll his sleeves up and get to work anywhere he goes. He's a frontliner. So the fact that he shared that piece of, I guess, the experience for him and being in the kitchen, I didn't know. I thought that was dope.
So, and I want to say something, and shout out to Miss Letty, your wife.
Yeah,
you know
thank
what I
you,
mean?
brother.
Bro, so now let's pivot to this right here. So, shout out to the Goonies too for shooting my dog right here my way. All the Goonies are always my supporters of Hoodstocks right
That's
here.
right.
Always like, look, you gotta have this guy, you gotta have this person. They sent me you, bro. You know what I mean? And I said, oh shit, okay, cool. Bop, bop, bop. I checked you out, and I guess I didn't go too deep into your algorithm of post. But I didn't know Letty was your wife until after, I swear to God, bro, until after we already locked in a date. And then I was like, oh shit, this fool's wife's Letty. That shit is dope, bro. This is a power couple right here, bro.
Bless, man.
Super power couple. That is amazing, brother.
Yeah, she's a grinder, man. I'm super proud of her, man. She plays the trail like no other woman has in LA radio, so it's pretty dope, man.
Yeah, man. We've had Ceci on here before, and maybe one day we can have Letty on here as well.
For sure.
But we like giving our women within the Latina community their flowers right here at Hoodstocks, and I watch her from afar. You know, she fucks with a lot of like my boy Concrete.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
we it's funny, but we don't know each other, but we all know people, the same people. You
LA
feel me?
is small, you know, in the ecosystem that we move in. You know, man, it's 1 degree of separation. It's not even 6 degrees. Everybody's close.
She is super dope, bro. And so when I found out that she was your wife, once again, I want to say it one more time to emphasize it. I was like, whoa, this is a power couple right here.
Yeah, nah, she's getting big time, man. People come up like, hey, you Letty's husband, huh? I'm like, damn. I'm gonna tell her that story. She's gonna love to hear that.
Yeah. And that's, bro, that is, we got to get into the dynamics of that, of your guys' relationship and being in the industry, and hopefully we can get into that through the story, brother.
Sure.
But I was taken back, and I told you, I think I messaged you, I said, hey, bro, I didn't know Letty was your wife.
You did.
Because I seen a post come up, and I'm like, oh, shoot, they got a whole family? Like, what the hell? Like, where am I living at? I'm living in a cave, bro? You know? And I apologize, brother.
Nah, you good.
There's so much stuff going on in the Latino community, man, and shout out to everybody doing their thing. It's a real Chicano renaissance right now in regards to everybody. Man, they doing their thing in the music, everything. I mean, god damn it, dog.
It's amazing, man.
It's a beautiful thing, brother. I love it, dog.
Your story.
Yes.
The beginning.
The beginning. You came 2 years old?
At 2 years old, yes.
Okay. And you guys resided in what was it, Rosemead?
In Rosemead, yeah. We moved in with my uncle, my mom's brother, only brother. We moved to Rosemead. We lived there for maybe a little less than a year. And
how was your moms and pops, bro?
Super dope, amazing.
Both, you had both.
They just blew out their 50-year anniversary candle. Sheesh. You know what I'm saying? Which is rare.
Congrats.
The bar has been set high, but no, they're amazing people. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have been blessed with better parents. I mean, when I reflect on it, obviously, the older we get, the more, and when you become a parent yourself, the more you realize the work that it takes, you know, to make things work. And I mean, I'm incredibly blessed. Like, both of them put in the blood, sweat, and tears, you know, to raise my sister and I, and still grateful to have them around.
How old's your sibling, your sister? Is she older or younger?
She's 9 years older.
9 years older. Okay. Was she a very influential figure in your life?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's only
was she
us.
mean to you, bro?
No. In fact,
I got an older sister, and she was mean, bro.
In fact, the opposite. She was always very graceful. You know, we were like two peas in a pod. You know, so I think when she was from everything I could remember, she always embraced me. You know, like I know we'd ride the bus to the Montebello Mall together. You know, and I'd go with her. I'd go to her high school, you know, events. You know, she was like in a dance music program, so I would tag along with her as well there, to get an In-N-Out burger across the street from Rosemead High, which is where we both went.
Shout out to Mustangs.
No, that's that Mustangs.
Oh, the Panthers. Yeah, Panthers.
Mustangs is the middle school.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom and my aunts all graduated from there.
Okay, beautiful.
Shout out to your mom, Casey.
But yeah, no, she was always dope. Like, I was allowed to be the third wheel when she was dating my brother-in-law for probably a decade strong.
Was it cool?
Always cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
You know what?
Cool. I look forward to Friday, man. We go to, the AMC in Covina. We used to, first stop was the Applebee's. Second stop was the Kelly's for a dessert to sneak in, and then to the movies.
Yeah,
that shit
man.
was amazing.
Yes, sir.
I was a kid, man. I was loving it.
You know what I want to say is I want to go back and highlight. You said your moms and your pops just blew out their 50th anniversary candle,
major.
and that is so important. So, and it probably has been very, very significant in your life in regards to just being influential of saying, hey, having a relationship like that is possible and it's key and it's strong because within the black community, bro, and I hate to bring up the statistic, but I think it's like 75%. I mean, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but 75% of black families end up in divorce, you know, and then the mom ends up marrying the government, you know, and that's child support and all that other stuff, you know. And so they say within the Mexicano community, it's a lot better, you know, in regards to statistics and percentages. I don't mean to bring that up.
I think American in general is plagued with divorce, brother.
100%. My family's plagued with divorce, bro.
Yeah. No, I think, man, honestly, just American values are very different. You know, I think American values are based on capitalism and money and what you own and what you possess, and so the pursuit of that oftentimes, you know, distracts you from what's important, and that's your family. That's why, in my case, you know, having been from Mexico City and from being from Mexico,
yes,
like Mexico was at the top of the hierarchy of everything. You know,
so you're saying the longevity of your roots, your values come from, it's not American culture, it's Mexican culture.
A lot of it.
Being the fact of why your parents have been around, but I don't want to get too deep into that, and I hear you, and I respect it, all that, and you're right, bro. You know what I mean? But it's a good influence for to trickle down to your kids, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you don't have that type of influence or that example set at an early age, you could potentially just end up being, you know, just very, very
it changes everything, man. It changes everything. I mean, you see people that or virtually just sitting, you know, either your classmates or neighbors had everything virtually the same, minus that one factor of having either parents together or parents at all.
And you always knew when you were young, bro. When you were young and you were a kid, bro, you always knew the homie or the friend that was in a broken family, because he was like a little fucking, like, he was a little off. He was doing shit that you weren't doing. You know
they just got a license to do a lot more. Yeah, they got a much longer leash or no leash at all.
Yes, 100%. And so with that, how long have you been with Letty?
7 years and counting.
Okay.
Yeah, well, seven years married, 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, congrats.
All together, yeah, we're pushing strong, man. You know,
for the long haul.
Oh, for sure, for life.
Absolutely.
That's what
That's
it
the same
is,
thing
man.
with me
That's
and my
why we
lady
sign
too.
up, man.
Yeah.
We don't do this for play, man.
Absolutely. You shouldn't, bro.
No,
you know what I mean? Especially when there's kids involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, but yeah, with kids, I mean, man, the stakes get even higher.
Yeah, it gets real. It gets real when there's kids. Even with my lady, bro. Like, we have been through some trying times.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think, we've been with each other for like 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
And I think we are still together because of our two girls, you know, because we understand, we both come from a broken family.
Right.
You know, and we understand if we broke up, what we would be doing to our kids, bro.
You can't split kids in half,
that.
man.
Yeah.
You can't split them in half. It's either one way or another, or back and forth like a ping pong.
Yes.
And that ain't right.
And so growing up and having a complete household with both your parents in the household, I mean, what were the dynamics? You know what I mean, between moms and pops? I mean, was pops like, you know, super hard on you? I mean, what was the dynamics between both individuals?
Both, I think kept me accountable. You know, as a kid, both worked. You know, both contributed to the household. It was progressive in a sense. It was not like classic machismo. You know what I'm saying? But both, you know, they both held the house down in all aspects.
And
they shared all the responsibilities.
And so if you're a Mexican national, then they're Mexican nationals, right? And so how do they make ends meet coming into this country? Because they came here to live the dream and give you a better life.
Yeah, my sister. Well, they first started working for a company that my uncle, who we moved in with, worked for in Hollywood that used to sell Mexican VHS tapes, like, movies, different movies.
yeah. Blockbuster.
Exactly, the Mexican Blockbuster. And then they did, my dad sold at some point novelty, like Mexican novelty items, like the stuff you hang in your rearview mirror, the different, like trucker type hats, that you see, at any swap meet in LA.
Yeah.
He did that for a second. My dad also had a food truck at some point, that commissary that was based in Anaheim. So he did that for a couple years. I've recounted that he got robbed at gunpoint twice, and still managed by the grace of God. I think when I reflect on that, I can't explain the gravity of how different my life would have been had he got shot or killed. Right? I mean, this is a reality. It might have been a young knucklehead that was just trying to come up on some bread.
Yeah.
Saw a lunch truck, gets nervous, and plenty of things can happen. So, yeah, those were some of the jobs my dad carried. Then my mom worked for a good amount of time doing silk flower arrangements. A trade that she picked up from my aunt, my tia Cynthia, who lives in San Bernardino, and that was pretty dope, man. I mean, I always admired what they did.
You had good role models.
Oh, yeah. My thing is that they made it happen every day, one way or another.
And how are you in school, bro?
I was good, man. Yeah, it was
Any
good.
sports? You play any sports
Yeah,
in
I played
school?
basketball. Coming up, I played, like in elementary, I did like the flag football. I did the basketball. We played baseball at school. But in terms of like organized sports, it was basketball all the time. Yeah,
I love basketball, bro.
We got to get on the court, man.
Oh, I used to love basketball.
No,
I'll get on court, bro. I'll get on court.
I love watching basketball.
I'm you know what? I'm upset with the Lakers, man.
Dude.
Man, we're down 3-1, right? I just seen that,
I
man.
bet $20 on that game, dude.
Fucking Ant-Man.
They got Minnesota's got a good team, man. You know what I mean?
Ant-Man.
Bunch
Jordan's
of high-priced babies.
Yeah, man. It just I watched the game before coming over here, man. And I'm a diehard Laker fan. I always wanted to be a Laker growing up. I mean, when they were asking all the kids what you wanted to be up, I wouldn't say nothing because I was embarrassed to say I wanted to be a Laker because I thought it was just too far-fetched, which it honestly was.
Well, lucky, I just got an email today. They have offered you a position as a Laker girl.
There you go.
A Laker girl, chilling.
Hey, man.
Is that what we're doing right here, bro?
It's not that too crazy of a dream. I mean, we got, what's his name? Jaime Jaquez Jr. He's on the Heat.
Yeah.
And, we got some representation. We've had some, too. I mean, Devin Booker is half Mexican.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope. He's one of the ones,
Yeah, no, for sure.
So it could happen, man.
I mean, it could happen.
Could happen.
You never know, man. I mean, look at Latino rap artists. Now, how do you feel about Latino rap artists finally getting a little shine of light right now?
I love it, man. I love it. I like,
Is there any particular artists you like that are coming up right now within the Latino community?
I mean, one of my homeboys, King Doji, you had him here. I met him back in like 2011, about 2010, 2011, and I love what he's rapping about. I love how he runs his program. I mean, I think it's dope. I think, but I love all music. I love the people that fall within the traditional or lane of Chicano rap too. Everybody got a place. I just love that the people are making the bread. And the people are using the internet effectively to monetize and enterprise around the brand. I love it.
Absolutely, brother. And so thank you, Casey, for forwarding me a little bit of I don't know who wrote that, but there was a bio written about you. Mm-hmm. And they said that your sister was in a graphic design class and you used to sit in that. Is that factual?
That's factual, yeah. She used to go, she started her higher education at PCC, at Pasadena City College. So
Pasadena City College.
I would tag along with her. Like I said, we were two peas in a pod, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm going to go with my big sister to school. And so I would just sit in the back. I don't know who they thought I was, if he was a little bit older and I was her son or something, or I don't know what the case might have been. But
they let you be.
Yeah, they let me be. I didn't get an assigned desk or nothing or a computer, but I would just sit back there, soak up the game. And then we were fortunate enough to have a Mac computer at the house that our grandmother had bought at Sears.
Yeah.
And we got blessed. That was like having a fucking spaceship in the house. You know what I'm saying? Because, it wasn't like conventional for, people to have or working class family to have a Mac computer at that time.
Not at all.
It's super expensive.
Did you struggle growing up with you know what I mean, with your fam bam? I mean, was there trying times, or was pops and mom and pops?
They never showed it. They never showed it, man. But I'm sure we were pretty tight, but we always had everything we needed. You know what I'm saying? And in terms of like the
clothes and everything, all that stuff, like, right?
Yeah, we were good. Thankfully, no, we were blessed.
Sometimes you hear some stories, brother. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
we see it.
And you didn't have no brothers, so you know what I mean. It's not like you can wear your sister's clothes.
No hand me down. No hand me downs. In fact, she used to buy me clothing when she started working. She worked at the old Hope Temple Buffet in Temple City. And so she used to hook me up with clothes, and I'm like, oh man, this is dope. Right. She was like a Tommy Hilfiger enthusiast, still to this day, in fact. And she buy everything Tommy. And we'd go to Ross and we go to Marshall's and get loaded up. Yeah, she blessed me.
Shout out to Ross and Marshalls, man.
Yeah, man.
We need that sponsorship, bro.
So growing up in the SGV area, I mean, very close to this iconic shoe store. What are your memories of Sally's in Almani?
Sally's in Almani, I frequented a couple times. That's where the Valley Mall. That's right out there. Yeah, I went there a couple times. Trying to think. I did Sally's a couple times. Did a Payless a lot more times.
Payless, right? Yeah, man. I used to get the kangaroos, bro. The kangaroos Velcro, and it had a little pocket, and you can put a quarter in that bitch. You know what I mean? It didn't help you. You didn't get nothing out of it when you put the quarter in it, like a fucking slot machine or something, or candy machine. But yeah, man.
Sally was dope though, man. It's just it's a staple. It's a staple for sure.
That's right.
And so moving forward into your young life at the time, you know, I mean, you're sitting in the class with your sister, and you're intrigued by what's going on in there, which is graphic design. Yeah,
it's graphic design. I was just like, man, this is amazing. I mean, I've always been enthusiast of the arts. You know, I've always been somebody very, very heavily invested, and that's because in grade school I had a teacher in 3rd, 4th, and 6th grade. Name is Manning, who really put the arts at the top of the curriculum, which was in very rare form. It's always math, science, language arts, and then arts is probably, it's almost like an elective of sorts. But, she kind of flipped that curriculum on its head, and that rubbed off a lot on me. And also, my dad himself, he's an artist, so obviously the proximity to my dad and his influence and how much he knows about the art and how much he, loves it, that rubbed off, and influenced how I see things. So when it came to graphic design, my sister, it's like my role model. It's my, it's my only sibling, my older sister, and I love her to death. And so anytime anything she would do, I was like, all right, well, let me check it out. Let me look into it. And the immediacy of working on a computer and being able to create something, maybe if you're not like the artistic guy that has the dope lettering skills, you know what I'm saying, or somebody that can illustrate, the fact that you're empowered by the computer, to me was, very powerful.
Mind blowing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what kind of art does your pops do? You said you mentioned.
So my dad is an artist that hasn't gotten the opportunity to really like dive in head first into what he loves. But anytime like we had school projects or anything, like I'd come with the illest fucking projects, to school. Like I remember he illustrated a hummingbird. It looked like it was a photo.
Damn.
Like the type of work that the talent that he has as an artist is amazing, and it's still something I want to pull out of him little by little because I think he deserves to really flex that muscle.
100%.
Yeah,
that's dope, and it's just a natural ability to put that on paper, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Something that obviously he honed in as a craft as a youngster, maybe.
Probably, yeah, but
wasn't able to ever to utilize it like
he
you have
been. He didn't get to exercise it, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And so moving forward into your story, your career, brother. I mean, how do you? I know you DJ Ski, the game, bro.
Ben Baller.
Yeah, Ben Baller, right?
Ben Baller.
Wow, Ben Baller, bro. You got to. I mean, am I jumping too far into your story?
I want to know how you got a camera.
How did I get a camera? Okay. Well, the camera came about because I think I was 15, 16 years old, the Jordan 18 or 17s came out. The Air Jordan 17s, the ones that came in a case. And this when he was playing on the Wizards, they came in that navy blue and white colorway. You know, and naively asked my working class parents, like, look, we got to go to Foot Locker. We got to go pick those up. Like, we had it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we go there and try them on. They open up the case. I try the shoes on. I'm like, oh, yes, it's time. It's lights, cameras, action, right?
Yeah.
And so this was one of the first pairs, if not the first, that I can recall that cost $200, the sneakers, which would be equivalent to saying now it costs $600 then,
Yeah.
you know, or now rather. And so my parents, you know, just broke the news to me like, look, we can't really afford this. It is what it is. So I was like, I understand it, you know, like we can't really swing this. So I went back to the drawing board and went home, and I was like, man, how can I make money? You know, I'm like, how can I make money legitimately? More importantly, right? And so my mind started going down the rabbit hole, and one of the first things that kind of came across my mind was some type of like e-commerce or eBay or flipping stuff, you know. And this is before, you know, what kids do now. What kids do now is at a whole different level, you know, and buying and reselling sneakers.
Yeah, right.
But I was all right, well, let's see if I buy one pair of sneakers and then I can resell it, and then I can buy two pairs of sneakers and I can resell those, and, you know, grow my money exponentially was my thought, you know, when I was younger. And so that's just what I did. I started buying sneakers. You know, I started doing what's called sniping on eBay, where people, you know, mislabel like or mistitle a listing. So if say it's the Air Jordan 1 retro, they'll put they might have missed 2 or 3 letters in it, so no one can find it. So you gotta search, you know, odd names, you know, for Jordans, and you might be able to come across a brand new pair of sneakers or a highly coveted pair of sneakers that you can snipe for the low because no one's bidding on eBay because it's an auctioning system. You buy it and you resell it for 4 or 5 times the price. And so the camera came into play there because one of the things that I realized is that everybody is virtually selling the same product on eBay. But the listings that are getting the most bids are the ones that are presented the best, right? So the ones that have the best photos, the ones that have the HTML coding into the body of the listing. Obviously, reputation counts a lot on eBay or on the internet, you know, when you're selling, you know, person to person, right? And so the thing for me was, all right, I was able to buy, after buying a couple of sneakers and reselling with whatever equipment I had at the time, I was able to buy a camera, and with that same camera, I started just, you know, making the nicest listings possible. Crazy enough, one of the things that was popular at the time, it might be popular still, but then it was like the Wild West, you know, where you don't know who you're buying from, you don't know if the product is real, you don't know if the product's even going to get to you. So one of the things that people would do would be write their username on a piece of paper and position it right next to whatever product it is you're selling.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy part. I told Nipsey about this. My username on eBay at the time was iHustle.
Oh, shit.
IHUSSLE.
Wow.
The platform in which Nipsey released the Marathon music project was iHustle.com. So it's kind of like a crazy connection, right? Because we're talking over a decade before even having the privilege of meeting Nip and working with Nip. So anyways, to get back to the story, I did a lot of buying and reselling on eBay, and that to me was like a crash course in branding, you know, because I started to realize the different techniques and different things that would make, you know, my listings more successful than the people selling the same things, you know, that were, if I was selling a pair of Air Jordan 11, you know, the Carolinas, and someone else was selling it, what was going to be the big differentiating factor in me being able to sell it for more? And the differentiating factor was better photos, the little post, you know, the little piece of paper that has my username written on it, that makes it feel tangible, that people know I actually have this in my possession. Yeah. And my reputation. And then obviously some HTML coding into the body of the listing. And what they might get 300 for, I would get 500.
Damn. Okay.
And so it's just, you know, it's branding 101. It's like modern day. This is the same shit that happens today. You could buy a Gucci bag at Costco, or you could buy it at the Gucci store. You know, ask your wife where she would get it at. Yeah. It's the same, apples for apples, the same product, but it's the experience. It's the presentation, it's the perception.
You say it's branding 101 and shit, but a lot of us don't know that branding 101. Like you're saying, it's basically the basics.
Basic, yeah. It's just how it's perception is reality, and that's what it was there, you know. Because we're selling the exact same thing. We see it today, though. We see it in every industry. You know, you see it in the weed game. You know, it's the packaging, it's the bag, it's how it's presented. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's selling the same dope for the most part. You know, you can have the same flower in 6 different bags.
100%.
Which bag is the one that, you know, stands out the most to you?
There you go. I get that. Yeah. I appreciate you simplifying that right there. Now you're talking in my.
No, that's how I explain it to, you know, to anybody in that game. I'm like.
Now you're talking in my.
And then
my educational level thing.
Come on, man.
And then I think the story
it
about
makes 100% sense, bro. Packaging is fucking key, bro.
Yeah.
And so you start.
I carried that camera over, you know, from eBay into, you know, just documenting my life on MySpace, just like a lot of people, you know. At this point, now you have a digital hub where you can share, you know, your story in whatever capacity you want to, whatever it is you do. It could be some regular shit, it could be some phenomenal, extraordinary, out-of-pocket shit, whatever you want to do. And so in my case, it was just regular shit, you know. And while I was selling on eBay, I used to frequent this, now I'm like 17, 18. I used to frequent this sneaker forum called NikeTalk.com.
Yeah.
And one of the most polarizing figures on that platform was Ben Baller. You know, he would be posting pictures of the whips, the women, the shoes, the jewelry, all of that shit. You know, he's been living this lifestyle for real since then, you know. We're talking about over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as an impressionable 17-year-old, 16, 17-year-old, you're watching this, you know, and you're like, damn, man, this shit is amazing. You know, like, I got to figure it out. I got to figure out what he's doing, you know, and he seems like he got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I'm following from the forum onto MySpace, follow him on there. And at some point he puts up what was then called a bulletin, which is like a story post now, I guess, the equivalent of that. And he asked for help setting up, doing some coding on his page so that he can customize it and he can put pictures of all of these pictures as he's pretty much uploaded onto Nike Talk, onto, you know, his page so that they load up so that they're not on a gallery, but they live straight on the page. So as soon as you click on his profile, you see all these pictures.
Yeah.
And so at the time, like a lot of people, you know, I knew some HTML coding, basic HTML coding. So I took the task on and I coded maybe about over 100 and some odd images. I sent him the text file with all the coding so he could put it onto his back end, and he uploaded it and he was thankful. And, you know, we opened the lines of communication from there on. We communicated through, at the time was AOL Instant Messenger.
What was your username?
What was mine?
Yeah, your aim.
This is funny, Air Jap, but because my initials are Jorge Arturo Peniche, so Jap, like that. But it's funny because it's in Jap.
The whole Jap.
It's just shit. It's just crazy, right? You can't explain it. But yeah, that's how I connected with Ben Baller, and Ben Baller was gracious enough, you know, to kind of bring me into the fold.
How was that dude, bro?
Super dope, man. At the time, you know, now he's kind of turned it down a little bit.
Yeah, what happened, bro? He's kind of like
he's humble. He's his age, man. Just older, you know. Before he was just like
he already got his paper, so he's just chilling now.
I mean, he's been getting it.
Nah, I think he's still getting it, you know. But I just think his perspective. He's a family man. He got kids. You know what I'm saying? I think he just toned it down a little bit. But
100%.
before he was a fool. You know what I'm saying? He was loud and it was cool. That's part of his persona at the time, and he was, you know. He was a big personality, to put it in the way that I saw it. And so, yeah, he made some key introductions for me. He invited me to an event at Turntable Lab, and at that event at Turntable Lab on Fairfax, I met Mr. Cartoon, I met Estevan, I met Game coming off of the, you know, 5-time platinum, you know, documentary album. I met Benji and Joe from Good Charlotte, which were on fire at the time.
Yeah.
And then I also met DJ Ski that night, and so I didn't think much of those introductions. You know, I mean, have no family ties or no friend ties to the industry, so I just thought, this is what it is. You know, like I got to meet some people that, you know, I look up to, that I admire, that I've seen their work, and this may be a one-off. But what I failed to realize in those introductions is who was making the introduction. And this is Ben Baller. This is someone that has built rapport with all of those individuals, you know, over time through different dealings.
Respectable.
Yeah, it's respectful. Yeah. So after those, I guess, interactions, maybe a week or two later, Ben invites me over to meet with DJ Ski. He used to have a public relations company on Melrose, right? Actually, ironically enough, maybe 4 blocks away from where our burger is at. So it's kind of like a full circle moment. Crazy again.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, he invites me over to his public relations company, to Ski's public relations company, and Ski takes me in, I guess, as an intern of sorts, you know. So I follow suit, bring my camera with me, and yeah, I documented all the experience from there on with my camera, and I took on the role of, I guess, a photographer of sorts. And at this time, Ski was working with Game a lot. He had just done the 300 bars of running.
Let's go.
And then he's doing a mixtape called the Black Wall Street Journal Volume 1.
Yeah.
On that project is featured, the J-Rocks, the Ciceros from Philly, your boy from Fillmore.
You talking about JT, the bigger figure?
No.
I'm sorry.
Your boy,
Your boy.
YB the Rockstar. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
We had JT on here from Fillmore.
Yeah, I checked that out. That's dope.
Yeah.
Who else did he have? We had my boy from South Central, from Athens Park. We used to go by Dub, but now goes by Quincy White, and then also Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a great time, to come in. It was like perfect timing, and yeah, getting to document all of those guys, in the studio and build relationships with everybody. I mean, it was super meaningful because some were already household names and others were soon to be superstars.
How do you conduct yourself in that environment of basically correct me if I'm wrong, but were you kind of like the only Latino within that circle?
I would say so. I mean, when I reflect,
how do you navigate through those oceans?
Just be yourself, man. That's the best thing you could be anywhere you go. You don't gotta change your demeanor. You don't have to change your vernacular, the way you dress. Just be yourself, man. That's the key that unlocks everything.
And who was yourself during these times? Were you just like a low key, kind of quiet dude handling your business?
Yeah, chill. Like I like to fly on the wall approach, and I brought.
And that's good. That's important, right?
Yeah, it's very important.
For people that are listening right now that might be.
Yeah, I think it's important to, especially if you don't. Well, just not to be overzealous. You know what I'm saying? I think you could shoot yourself in the foot when you're overzealous by doing too much and taking, asking too many questions, like, that are outside of the parameter or the framework of what the work you're doing. When you like some people just like interrupt the creative process as it's happening. Just let it happen.
Yeah, bro.
Like, this is the fucking workplace, bro. This is how people eat. This is how the world, gets inspired. So don't interrupt none of that. Just let it happen. If you build relationships and you're able to chop game with somebody, do it. But you just gotta, play your position and fall back. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And in due time, with your talent, and with whatever you bring to the table, that's gonna shine through, and people are gonna want to know about you, and that's how it happens.
So during this time, which is a very, very critical point in your career, right?
Yeah.
Of being a fly on the wall, staying out the way but doing your job,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't know how to do sometimes.
It's tough, man. It's tough,
including myself. You know what I mean? At times, right? You know what I mean? But we live and we learn. But sometimes people have the right ingredient or the right foot in front of the other from the beginning. It sounds like you had it. You understood your environment. You understood your position. You said playing your position.
You got to, man. Like there's one engine in the car, and you gotta play whatever other part of the car you play. You know what I'm saying? And some people just want to be the engine, and it's like, bro, there's one engine. It's cool. The other parts are critical too. So this shit, you could be the right wheel, bro.
Yeah.
Without the right wheel, it doesn't move either. You know what I'm saying? But the engine's the engine. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's how I feel, man.
Preach. Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of people that have tried to pursue similar things, and they were just overzealous and, turn people off. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, man, this guy is just too much, or this girl, or whoever the person is trying to come into, the sacred space of a creative.
Yeah.
That was just doing too much. They're like, man, they're not getting an invite anymore.
You know what's crazy, brother? You say that is because I've been very, very fortunate to be in some certain circles, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I bring some of my boys, and sometimes I've brought some of my boys, and maybe it was the alcohol, you know what I mean? Whatever it might have been. I'd say it was the alcohol that made them overzealous, like you were saying, right? And to be a little over the top, opposed to saying, hey, bro, I know who you are, bro.
Right.
You a good homie, bro. The hood loves you. The hood respects you, bro. But this ain't the hood right here. This is another space, respecting the space.
For sure.
And sometimes people don't know how to respect the space. And I've made that I've made that bad decision before, not respecting certain people's space. You know what I mean? And being overzealous and over the top. You know what I mean? And I've learned from it, you know, because some of those bridges that I might have burned, right? Let's be honest. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking about myself. I'm very transparent in who I am and what I've done in this 6 years of hood stocks, you know? And I you know, we got to learn from that, you know? But I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just saying, like, I brought in individuals to certain spaces and they didn't respect the space.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, damn.
The liquor definitely doesn't help sometimes, you know?
Chill the fuck out, bro.
Yeah.
Turn it down, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you've been able to navigate these oceans, man, and you've been able to stay in pocket. And salute to you on that,
Yeah,
brother.
like I said, the biggest underlying theme or moral of the story is just be yourself, man.
Just chill.
Just gotta be yourself. Whatever yourself is, be it, man.
Yeah.
Be it all the way. There's nothing greater than, you know, your authentic self. I think oftentimes if you get around a certain group of people, you try to turn it up this way.
Yeah.
You know, that's that code switching.
Don't match the energy, bro.
No.
Don't try to match their energy. Like, this is their space.
Yeah.
Like, just.
No,
yeah.
I mean, now I think they use it with the terminology with politicians. It's code switching, you know, where they get in front of a group that's this and they start talking like that. And they go in front of this and they start talking like that. You should never do that, man. Just be yourself all the time.
Code switching, huh?
Yeah, code switching, man.
Okay.
Just be yourself all the time, man. If people love it, great. If they don't, then it's not for you.
Yeah.
And that's cool too, man.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? You
Yes.
keep pushing. That's it. You know, whatever path is already set for you, that God has set for you, man, it's done, man. You just follow it. Keep your antennas up.
Absolutely, brother.
And if it's not received well, then it's not for you. Get the fuck out of there.
This is a good message you're giving some of our audience right now. Or some people need to hear this, you know. And so, man, Ben Baller kind of like opens the gates in a sense, right? Gives you right of passage within these kings, right?
Yeah, it got me fast tracked. I can't front.
Fast track, right? Gets you the fast track. You're rubbing shoulders with the greats. You're a fly on the wall. You're taking your pictures. People are starting to gravitate to your energy. They're fucking with you. They're liking what you're doing.
Yeah.
And one thing is going to another. And let's talk a little bit about that, how it's moving.
We're talking, this is, I think my sophomore year of college is like 2006, 2007 when this journey kind of kickstarts. And so, yeah, I mean, getting an opportunity to be in the studio with Game while he's recording his sophomore album, ironically enough. He's doing The Doctor's Advocate.
How was that, bro?
Dope, man.
Come on,
Super
now.
dope.
Share some stories,
You know
bro.
what I'm saying? Game at the time was on fire.
Yeah.
You know, he was the top dog. He was the king of the coast. And, you know, so opportunity to get to see his creative process and all the collaborators coming into the studio, the Nas's, the Marshes and Broches, the Kanye's, the Commons, all of these people, you know, like I grew up in Rosemead and San Gabriel. There's not that type of motion over there, you know. There's a different type of motion, but it's not that motion, you know. And I have no family ties to it.
Yeah.
I've always been an admirer of the culture of hip hop, so it's dope to, you know, have a front row seat to it and just get to watch it, you know, kind of unravel and see a project, you know, come together. And then he's got the fueling beef with 50 at the time. There's a lot of shit going on, man.
Oh, man.
What do you think about just kind of random and little what do you think about the new song of Kanye West? I think it's called, what is it called, Casey? Cousins.
Man, I'm very concerned about Kanye, you know, like I've gotten an opportunity to meet him.
Wow.
I think he's one of those genius level talents that hit critical mass. And I don't know, I think when you watch like the documentary that came out a couple years ago that his homie put, was it Cootie Mac?
I watched that, yeah.
Yeah, he put together, I mean, you see how instrumental and critical his mother was, like as a balancing piece. And so when I think about like his mother was a college professor, right? And then his mother passes away because of cosmetic surgery, right? And why would she do a cosmetic surgery? Maybe because of the pressures of being in LA, being in front of the camera alongside her son. Imagine how that may feel like as a son, that you may add those things up and think like, damn, you know, like, had I not reached this level of superstardom, had my mom made the same decision for herself, you know, to have done cosmetic surgery?
Honestly, I didn't know she passed from cosmetic surgery.
Yes, this is what happened. So I say this all to say I'm very concerned, you know, like just as a person, as a human being, the trajectory of where Kanye is going right now is not, we're not going to receive very good news. Something's going to happen. It's going, and I don't know how many people have been able or have tried to intervene within his inner circle, but
let's go.
it seems like it's going bad.
Yeah, he tweeted a message earlier today saying that apparently there's a $20 million bounty on his head for Kanye.
Yeah, I don't know. It's man, I know this is such a cliche term that's used now, but mental health, man, for real.
Have you ever suffered from any mental health?
I can't say I like regular, like just being down and out over a certain situation. Yeah, you feel it, but in terms of like
Very
feeling
blessed, brother.
overwhelmed to the point where
Yeah.
I'm going down a dark road. No, thankfully, no.
Yeah.
And that contributes to the emotional intelligence. I can't stress how important that is, man.
Emotional intelligence. Yes.
Yeah, emotional intelligence. I would probably put it way above academic intelligence, right? Or whatever you learn at school, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's like being able to process information and being able to put it within the context of what this whole shit is, this whole life thing is. Sometimes, we might just be looking at this thing and thinking this is all that we have to focus on, but there's really a bunch of other things, that you got to realize that, Nipsey actually told me this, and this was really powerful. He told me, some people have it, better than others, and some people have it worse than others. You're always going to have it better than others and always going to have it worse than others.
Yeah.
That's life. You know what I'm saying? Even the billionaire has that. Even the guy on the street in Skid Row has that. The guy in Skid Row may have a place to go sleep at the Mission, or may get access to food, or someone in a third world country may not have even action at either of those, right? So it's all relative. I'm very much an optimist. Even in the worst of times, or we're faced with some type of insurmountable odds, I know that there's always a silver lining to something. I always see in it.
100%.
And then again, I don't get hell-bent on things. Like if there's something that I really want, it doesn't work out, I've chalked it up. It's not for me.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world.
You're not going to mentally fucking have a collapse.
No.
In regards to whatever the scenario might be or situation might be.
It can't be, unless it's something like we were talking about earlier, if it's health-related and it's something you just can't intervene.
Yeah.
Then, man, that's tough.
I feel bad for Kanye, bro. That Cousins was just a lot of people. Some people, I don't think it was. Me and Casey talked about it. It wasn't entertained very much through
mainstream
media and shit, because people just they feel. I think overall everybody feels really, really bad for the dude, because he is a genius and his music has been absolutely amazing, man. But like you said, the direction that he's going right now, it doesn't look good, bro.
Doesn't look good.
Doesn't look good.
All signs right now are pointing to something really bad. Where we're gonna see it on the
and
news.
I don't want to say it. I think
don't
we're both
manifest
thinking.
It. No,
yes,
I pray for the guy and anybody that's in similar situations that just like, is on a crash course, collision course.
A collision course. Thank you, brother.
It's crash out God, Kanye West.
Yeah, it sucks, bro. But it that's basically what. Yeah, the energy he's putting out. But moving from the Kanye West subject, man, you're with. Let's see.
Damn, they hurt us.
They hurt us, man. It's crazy the way the universe works sometimes, man. But whoever they're going to right now, we're gonna pray for them, and
hopefully it's all good.
Everybody's good. Every time, anytime I see an ambulance passing by me, I always say a quick little prayer. Past an accident on the freeway, I say a quick little prayer and shit.
Real.
Yeah, I'm not. I think that's a very human thing to do. And if you don't do that, then you're a fucking asshole.
No, you're right. I just saw a crash on the 110 by Highland Park. You know how small that freeway is.
Yeah,
like
I'm from Highland Park, bro.
Okay, so you're familiar.
Yeah.
So I just saw
freeway, baby.
They closed the whole freeway down, and it was
Yeah.
like a 5-car pileup. And I'm like, man,
well, people don't know how to drive that freeway, bro.
it's tough. Even those little exits.
Yeah, it's NASCAR, baby.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Shit, I drive that shit like a motherfucking professional, dog.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
But yeah, right? I mean, yeah, for sure. In these circles, man, what is that? So, Ben Baller, the game, DJ Ski, right? Mm-hmm. And then and obviously, I want to put it together, you know what I mean? But I'm thinking like, well, the game was tight with Nipsey. I mean, was that
wasn't the connecting bridge. So really so when I started working with Ski, I'm like, I'm picking up this camera. I got to figure out how to, document and make myself, useful within whatever they got going on. And my contribution is documentation. So that's what I was doing. At the same time, I started doing editorial writing and photography for publications domestically and overseas. So that's how I was able to make some money.
Wow.
Because
so speak on that. How does that you were able to make some money overseas? Like, tell me a little bit about that, bro.
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to find a book. I don't know how I found it. I don't know if it was at a bookstore or on Amazon, but it was basically a directory of all publications in the world at the time, right?
Okay.
So my
publications.
Yeah, like magazines.
Okay.
When they were still paying.
Bro, when are they gonna bring magazines back, bro?
Never. It's gone. It's done. There's no advertising dollars.
Just crushed my dream,
it went digital. It's all digital now.
I love magazines, bro.
Yeah, I love the tangible, the being able to collect, the being able to cut out everything.
Yes, Maximum magazine, bro, was all over my cell, bro.
That was your thing?
Yeah, a lot of guys. Maximum magazine, they had good stories. But go ahead, brother.
There you have it. But yes, that's how I was able to reach the overseas magazines was by going down this directory, sending them a link to my website that I had put up at the time, with my portfolio of work, and just reached out to maybe, no exaggeration, at least 100 to 200 publications every day for months.
Wow.
And then, with a success rate of maybe 5-10%, well, that's good enough for me. That was access that I didn't have already. So I was able to shoot for publications in Germany, in Australia, in Japan. Those were the ones that I can recall most prominently.
And can you tell us, you were publishing...
Let's do this real quick, Casey. Let's take a quick break. Let's pay some bills, and we're going to be right back with Jorge Peniche.
There you go.
Peniche.
Yeah.
I wanted to say Peniche because I'm like, fucking, I love Italian movies, dog. You know what I mean? I want to almost make it sound Italian. I apologize about that. But let's pay some bills, Casey. Pay the bills, bro. I got to pee. Yeah.
Hey, the water's off in there.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
I saw that too.
That's what, yeah. PJ
you
was
good?
saying, yeah, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, I took the cover off and I'm like messing with it. I'm like, is that? I'm like,
this went to the bathroom.
I'm like, this is hood stocks for real. I love it.
Bro, I was here earlier and I cleaned up everything and it was working.
You went in
because I was full.
No, you got the last flush. Fool. That was what.
That was what it was.
I clogged it. It was me. It was me.
Hey man, I'm just glad I had to take a piss, man. That's it.
Right?
It would have been treacherous right now. My man would have been like,
Lucky right now. Pray for Lucky right now.
I would have been fucked up.
He would have been like, the interview's over. Motherfucker blew up my restroom. No,
we're gonna have to run the microphone to Lucky in the bathroom right now.
Oh man, come on, let's do it.
I remember came out of the bathroom like, hey, I left something in the car. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, just peel off like.
All right, let me hit this right here. Shockaware is more than streetwear. It's a culture, lifestyle of individuality and self-expression through clothes. Hit up shockaware.com and use code HOODSTOCKS15. All right, guys. Looking for some good quality cannabis? Killer quality cannabis. Hit up your folks at Killer Kush. They specialize in bringing you the best quality from OG to exotic. They got it all, baby. You can hit them up at killerkushcali@gmail.com or on Instagram at killerkush.losangeles, all right? Or hit them up at Drip Fits Apparel in the city of Whittier for the latest Killer Kush and Hood Stocks merch, located at 13800 Leffingwell Road, Whittier, California, baby. Allied Peptides has all of your weight loss needs, including Ozempic, Mounjaro, and their own proprietary pen that comes with a money-back guarantee, all right? Tap in with Ozempic Vince to answer all of your questions, right? That's 714-269-1900. We're calling all bakers and chefs. Upgrade your kitchen with Origin Bakery and Restaurant Equipment, all right? Top quality ovens and mixers and more at unbeatable prices. Perfect for your next culinary creation, all right? Visit Origin today in the city of South Almonte or check them out online. Origin Bakery Equipment, 626-579-3580. Hey, let me scroll down right here. Here we are. Hey, D. Leo the Jeweler. Call him or text him right now. D. Leo the Jeweler, right? That's 323-899-0001. The Piping Company. Do you have...
Hold on, bring it to me.
All right.
Bring it to me. Love you guys. This is for you, this is for my dogs right here. Shroomy Drew is back.
But you have work tomorrow. I know that's a joke.
I don't have work tomorrow, so that's the only reason that I'm indulging a little bit, brother. And I apologize, brother.
No, you good. Yeah, you good. Do your thing.
I apologize, but I just, Shroomy Drew is back, baby. Let's do this real quick. Matter of fact, before we keep it going, I got some gifts for you, dog.
Oh, man, bearing gifts. Come on.
This is
the
for
hood
you.
stocks right there. Look at it. Come on, man.
You know, so I heard you talking about this, and so that this design was AI generated by Casey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bro, it's our only. Usually we have Ed Cal one, we have the homie Psycho. I mean, we've had some great. We have some great artists on the team right now. Yeah. We also got you a hat right here. Hood
Come on,
socks,
I
baby.
love it. Look at that.
Yes, sir, dog.
Official tissue.
That's right. That's for you right there, my dog.
Appreciate it.
Hey, we're sponsored by the Piping Company. All right. Hey, if you guys need a plumber, my dogs, this dude helped move my plumbing. I had a washing machine in a very, very small place in my house, and I moved it in my patio. And my girl wasn't very happy about it, dog, but she sees the vision now. You know what I mean? It's just me trying to like not have clutter in one little small area. But the Piping Company helped me do this. And if you'd like, they take care of Orange County, i.e. in Los Angeles. And if you'd like to use the Piping Company, call this number, 714-468-2828. Hey, we're also sponsored by Rottweiler Mafia, dog. You know what I mean? Hey, you like Rottweilers, dog?
Man, I got kids, man. I know people get the dogs for when they don't got kids.
I'll get you a pup, bro. Let me know
don't
if you
let
want
my
a
wife
pup.
hear this, man. Don't let my wife hear this,
bro. You know what? I will get you and Letty a pup, bro. A badass Rottweiler puppy, bro. Through our sponsor right here. If you guys would like a puppy for your family, bro, we have a puppy from Rottweiler Mafia. It's the best Rottweiler breeder in the United States. Don't play with it. You know what I mean? Rottweiler Mafia. And you'd like to reach out to them, go to 424-666-9929. And I know my boy, he's from Northern California, bro. The dude is a youngster. He's legit. He's breeding these badass Rotts. And we have a beautiful girl. Her name is Tiny. And she is a sweetheart, bro. You know what I mean? It's woman's best friend. And if you got boys, you got kids, I mean, you have a wife, you need a Rottweiler, dog. Let me know, bro.
Okay,
I'm gonna do it on me on the house, bro.
I'll let you
know.
know.
A Rottweiler puppy with papers and everything, dog. On me, just a gift to you, brother.
Okay.
I got you, dog. Let me know. Letty, tell him right now, Letty.
Shit.
Real shit. We're also sponsored by our criminal defense lawyer, right? That's Doug Sherrod. You guys know what it is. You guys having a bad weekend, you got to cross that bridge. Hopefully not. You know what I mean? Hopefully you're being responsible, making the right decisions. You know what I mean? But sometimes shit happens, you know? And if you need a good criminal defense lawyer, go to KingKongLawyer.com. KingKongLawyer.com. He used to be he used to work in the federal prosecutor's office, and he used to be a district attorney for the city of Los Angeles. You feel what I'm saying? And now he's on the other side of the fence, taking care of people that potentially been wrongfully accused or just had a bad weekend. KingKongLawyer.com. And with that said, and also too, let me tell you guys this right now. Let me fix my hat right here. www.50racks.com. You know what I mean? We got some crew necks, we got some hats. I think we're sold out on t-shirts. By the grace of God, thank you so much, everybody, for supporting the platform. www.50racks.com, baby. Don't play with this shit, dog. And the reason why I'm indulging, I'll say it one more time, is because I don't have work tomorrow. And I haven't done this for a minute, bro. Usually I just like, bam, straightforward. But I was like, you know what, dude? We got the big dog coming through. I want to enjoy myself, enjoy your conversation. So I'm going to have myself a little tequila. Shout out to my cousin, Mr. One Free Shot over there. You know what I mean? He got the motherfucking meat cheese popping off. You don't drink, bro.
I don't know.
How long have you not been drinking?
My whole life.
Your whole life?
Yeah, I mean, I've drank before, but it's not like something that, like a tradition of mine, like any Friday or weekend or birthday party or nothing. I'm not drinking.
Does it put you on the odd man out sometimes within these circles?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, we would do like club hostings. We all get a bottle, might take a sip, and that's it. Like,
okay,
I'm not drinking a whole bottle, nothing like that.
100%.
Because we're on business. We gotta keep our head on the swivel. You never know. You're going to different cities. Last thing you want to be is drunk and have to get into something.
You're absolutely right, bro. And I've this year, bro, man, I've been a good student. I've been good, huh, dog?
Well, you're being naughty right now, Lucky.
Casey said that I changed my relationship with They drank, and I did that for a reason, and it wasn't for this podcast. It was for my family, bro. You feel me? And sometimes that's what it is, you know. But today, I'm celebrating, bro. We've had a very, very good year, and we have a very, very great guest, legendary guest. And sometimes I like to enjoy it like this.
No, that's fine as long as you drink responsibly, man.
Oh, 100%.
That's the
brother.
most important part. You know, in my case, I reflect on the family story, and I think unfortunately a lot of families have that where we've had members of our family, you know, that suffer with alcoholism, right? So in my case, you know, my maternal grandfather, you know, God rest his soul, he passed away very young. His situation and why my grandmother and him split was because of the drinking. We have other people, you know, within our family that have had the issue. I just recently had a friend who I knew from the sandbox who died of cirrhosis.
Yeah.
You know, so all of those things to me are enough signs to stay away from it.
Well, I'll tell you this, bro. When I'm not drinking or any of that bullshit, I don't got a plan over a hangover, and I'm so much more productive.
Yeah, the handful of times I've ever had a hangover in my life, I didn't like it. So
it sucks, bro.
I don't get it.
And what was the old boy calling it?
Oh, the
Help me out one time.
the anxiety and hangover.
Yeah, it's like
Anxiety.
Anxiety. You know what I mean? Which a lot of people have sometimes. They get hungover and they have a lot of regret in regards to what they did, maybe potentially the night before, you know. And so I've suffered a little bit through with my mental health throughout the years in regards to time, street shit, drug abuse, you know what I mean? And so this right here is not something that should potentially be in my life all the time, you know what I mean? So I minimize it, you know.
Yeah.
And but anyways, I think you can ask my lady, bro, that I've really, really made it leaps and bounds in regards to where I was at to where I'm at now. You know what I mean? So potentially she's not too mad at me right now while she's watching this. You know?
You good, man?
Yeah.
You're grown up, man. And just a little bit of what's
We good,
that over
man?
there? A little michelada and what else you got in there?
A little bit of tequila and
Tequila,
shit.
that's fine, man.
Yeah, for sure. So where were we at? Where were we at in my
So it was you were making money publishing your photos in magazines overseas, right?
Yep.
And you were also writing articles
Yep.
with those photos.
Yep. So one of the things that I realized at the time was there's a lot of people starting to get into like the photography game and starting to get access to these same publications. So I thought, what was going to be the differentiating factor that I could offer that no one else can offer? And that's the pairing of also basically covering the whole editorial process from A to Z. That's me, meaning doing the outreach to said artists that these publications may want, setting up the interviews, doing the logistics to set up the photo shoot, doing the photo shoot, conducting the interview, writing the interview, and then sending it off. And then it gets transcribed, and then it gets translated into different languages. So the same interview can be in 3 different publications, 4 publications.
That's sick.
So that's how that was working out.
And there's good money in that, huh?
It was cool. I would say the irony in this was that my very first paid photo shoot was my highest paid for magazines, for editorial. That was a Urban Ink magazine back in the day. It was
I remember that magazine.
Publication based in New Jersey. I shot Margaret Cho, the comedian, in Glendale, and it paid, I think, 15 bands.
Damn.
And as soon as I did that, the hustler in me just like was on fire. I was like, I'm gonna shoot it every fucking day, 3 shoots a day, forever. And the reality dawned on me over the ensuing weeks and months and years was that the editorial business was going, to plunder. And, every month it was the price was getting, the offerings were getting lower and lower and lower and lower from these same publications to the point where they went from net 30 to net 60 to net 90 to net never.
Jeez.
You know what I'm saying? Some people would be dodging payments. And so to me, that was one of my bread and butters, but not my only thing. I also had a lot of freelance work, with artists locally.
Yeah.
Or different brands or publications that were here in LA. So that also helped me out a lot.
Nice.
And so while I'm doing all of this, having access to these publications, it allowed me to build relationships with different artists and offer, extend the olive branch. Like, look, I got this, you're doing this, let's put it together.
Nice.
And that's, eventually how I was able to meet Nip. So one of my homies, Will, who used to go by the moniker as an artist of Mr. Don't Know, He put me up on Nipsey's music. He gave me Bullets Ain't Got No Name Volume 1.
Okay.
And so I listened to it from front to back, and I was just really taken aback. I was like, man, this is amazing. I mean, this feels current, but it's also something that's very familiar that we love about the West Coast and we love about LA music. And so I was just completely enamored by the music and followed it from Volume 1 into Volume 2. And at that point, I'd watch all the interviews. I'd watch all the any type of like little documentaries he had put out at the time. He was doing some stuff with World Star. That was the biggest thing, in the music space, in the hip hop space, in the urban space. And so I reached out to Nip through MySpace. Again, it's been a great vessel to open up a lot of opportunities for me, directly to the person. And at the time, the person that used to oversee the administrative services for Nipsey's MySpace account was our brother Adam, who's somebody that he grew up with, from the Sandbox. And Adam was gracious enough, to extend the olive branch back or extend the invite to the Hustle in the House music video shoot. So this is around 2008. So at the time, again, I'm still in college. I end up I had a midterm the day of that video shoot, and so I tried to get the professor to let me take the midterm earlier in the day because the video shoot was starting like at around 1 or 2 right there on Crenshaw and Slauson. Professor said you have to take it at the same time everybody else takes it, so I take it like around 3-4 o'clock and knock it out, and then bus it back to my house from Pomona to San Gabriel because I went to Cal Poly Pomona. And my boy Wedo, who's a dope artist, tattooer, he picks me up from my house and we go down to Crenshaw and Slauson. And that was my first time getting to meet Nip. He's shooting Hustle in the House, which at the time was slated to be the single for his debut album, which was South Central State of Mind. And yeah, I mean, it was pure commotion. I mean, it was electric, on that corner on Crenshaw and Slauson. Everybody there was, every car, every motorcycle, anyone with a speaker, passing by was playing some Hustle. His whole section was there at what they affectionately call Club Shell, which is that gas station right there on Crenshaw and Slauson that's situated right next to the Fat Burger, right next to the original Marathon store. And yeah, Nipsey, I remember him pulling up in a white Bentley, and he hops out. Everybody's, going crazy, showing love, all his homeboys. All the onlookers, are taking pictures, because he's the toast of the town. Everybody loves him. And he had a magnetic personality. And so at some point in the shoot, we end up, introducing ourselves to one another, which I thought was really meaningful because in the midst of pure chaos, because everybody wanted his attention. Yeah. We made our ways to one another, and I thought that was pretty dope. And yeah, throughout that whole shoot, we shot a series of portraits and also like just candid photos throughout the remainder of the day. I think at that point we were like at 5 o'clock, and the shoot must have ended like around midnight. Yeah. And yeah, I mean that was our first intro. Months after that, or the ensuing weeks and months after that, we were able to shoot like different magazine spreads for different publications. And then I think towards the end of 2009, 2009, Adam from the team, he reaches out to me because they dropped Volume 3, and the original cover for Volume 3 was shot in New York, which didn't really align with the music because the music is very LA-centric. It's South Central to the core. Yeah. And me as a fan, watching from afar, I was like, damn, I really wish that cover would have been different. And sure enough, fortunately enough, Adam reaches out for me to reshoot the packaging for the reissue of Volume 3, and that's our first formal collaboration for something that he's putting out. And so now we're a little bit more connected in the collaborative process now, because this is not something for a magazine that I'm doing. This is something that Nipsey, himself, wanted to, to work on together in a collaborative fashion. Then fast forward a year later, November of 2010. At this point, Hustle reaches out personally to me and says, "Look, I'm gonna. I got something that I want to talk to you about. I don't know if maybe it's something that we can work on together. There's a studio space that opened up right next to mine that looks like it could be a creative space. I know you do your thing with the photography. Just want you to come check it out and see if it's something that you might be interested in, going half on. I'm like, for sure. I pull up to the studio. The studio used to be on Wilshire and Alvarado, right there by the Yoshinoya, right there on right across the street from MacArthur Park. And so he had two studio spaces at the time. He had Studio A, Studio B. Studio A was his personal one. Studio B was for the squad. And then there was another space that had just opened up that was going to be, potentially what he was pitching to me, like for us to go half on.
Yeah.
And so the idea was like, look, bro, I'm about to go indie again. I'm leaving Epic Records. They've played up musical chairs, with all of the people that are in administrative positions, and the people that were there when I originally got signed, have moved on. Things aren't working out or aren't playing out the way that I wanted them or I originally envisioned them to be. And so I'm going to go indie, which a lot of people thought he was crazy to do, because at the time the goal was to go, to a major label and get signed. That's like going to the league. But one thing about my brother, he's not a fame junkie. He wants to do things the right way and on his terms and no other way, even if it takes longer time. And such was the case. His whole story has been a testament to that.
Yeah.
And so, he told me about the space. He told me about us working, on a more regular basis, and I was already sold. I was a fan of Hussle, not only the music but the person that I've gotten to know over the year since I met him. And yeah, from that point on, we got to work from 2010 to 19, so almost a decade, like just straight pure collaboration. And it was definitely something that I'm privileged to say to have experienced, because Me, like I said, I was a fan of the music and of the person, so I knew from the get-go that the things that he represented within his community and beyond, were something that was significant, something that's uplifting to people.
Yeah.
It's something that has real substance, something that is transformative for people, and specifically people that might come from the disenfranchised areas that are very hard to reach, that don't want to hear from nobody, that doesn't look like them, that doesn't represent, the path that they walk.
So you were part of a time when he was signed to maybe Big U's label.
He was Epic Records. He was signed to Epic Records. Yeah.
Epic Records.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. He was directly signed to Epic Records.
Okay, because and I might have that information a little mixed up in regards to the Big U, the Unique Records. Maybe that was a different.
That was like a partnership at the time.
A different type of partnership.
Yeah, like working in some capacity.
In some capacity.
Yeah.
Exactly. Did you ever experience any interactions with, like, say, Big U?
Very minimal.
Very minimal.
Very minimal. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm not trying to get into all that.
Nah, it was. I wouldn't lie. It was just little.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. And so, man, you were a part of basically the meat and potatoes of his rise, of his journey. You were with him the entire time.
Amazing, yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I would pinch myself every time. I'm like, man, we're really doing this, and it gave me an opportunity to exercise my talents as much as, I was an opportunity to be part of something special.
What exactly are you doing during this time?
At first, it was photography and branding, so like the Marathon Bar logo, the All Money In logo I designed, right? So this was something I designed.
Let's say.
A lot of the clothing stuff, a lot of the album packaging, a lot of the photography, because one of the things that he told me at the beginning was like the photography and the way that I'm being presented through the label is like I go to my website and there's like shell casings flying out of the web page, like or spilling off to the side of the borders of the page, and he's like, I don't really want to represent that. I don't want to have people get it misconstrued that I'm trying to glorify street life. I'm talking about a reality, that's my reality, has been my reality for my recent years, and it reflects a lot of the reality of a lot of people in any ghetto USA. But he's like, I don't want people to receive that message graphically. I want people to be able to, to know me, in a greater capacity. And that's where I came in. And my proposition was, well, I think the best way to do that is photojournalism, So we talked about like one of the magazines I always admired in terms of photojournalism was Life magazine. It's that fly on the wall photography. It's that someone say is in the room and they're shooting and it's candid, it's not planned, it's not staged, it's not posed, it's happening, it's life happening. And I thought that was important for Nip because he's a multifaceted individual, that there's photos that could represent him when he's with his family and he's the family man. Then photos that could represent him when he's in the studio. He's a musician. Photos that he's in a business meeting. He's an entrepreneur and businessman. Photos in which he's at the store with his homeboys, the homie, and so on and so forth, So I thought that was important for people to see all of those facets, and that's what he wanted to do, take kind of control of the wheel, so to speak, because before that it was, a major label that was using antiquated brand aesthetic that had worked already in the 90s, and they thought they could just replicate it over in the 2000s. And people, I think, wanted more, and he deserved more, you know what I'm saying? Because had you only highlighted one part of his life, I think it would have been a terrible disservice to everything else that he represents and he brings to the table, and ultimately makes him more identifiable to a greater group of people, right? Because if you're from South Central, from LA, or from a certain neighborhood, you may either be turned on a lot by what's represented visually, or you might be turned off. But then if you see those other facets, there might be things that you might attach yourself to and be like, oh, I see myself in that, or I like that.
So through these years, you are a unit with him. You're moving with him as a unit.
Yeah.
How is it moving with him as a unit?
Dope, man. It's a great experience. I mean, man, I don't think this has been highlighted as much, maybe until recently, how funny he was. Bro, we were clowning all the time. Any airport, any city, it was just just complete euphoria. It was just laughter and good energy and eating good food and just shooting the shit and talking about some shit, that we were all, working towards.
He was a nice guy.
Super.
Authentic. He was real.
All the way. I mean,
There was no hidden agenda.
Anybody that met him fell in love with him, for real. From any walk of life. I've seen it with my own two eyes.
You know what I want to say? I want to say this. So my homies that are about roughly 10 years younger than me,
yeah,
they were always like, look, Nipsey. So I was always hearing Nipsey.
Yeah.
At a certain point in my I'll say my neighborhood career, there was one point where all the little young homies, they were hitters, bro. They were big dogs. They were real dudes you don't fuck with, you know what I mean? And they were all telling me about this dude, Nipsey Hussle,
yeah.
And so being the fact that I'm kind of at the time, 10 years plus, considered an old head at the time, the Tupac type of generation that I was from, but now this is their Tupac.
For sure.
You know what I mean? This is their Nipsey Hussle is my homies that I love with all my heart, that are just they G's, they gangsters, bro. They Tupac is Nipsey Hussle, homie.
Yeah, and LA born and bred.
Yeah, and they're emphasizing this and they're telling me this, and so I would hear it, and so I'll be honest, bro. In the beginning, I was like, okay, I hear it, and sometimes we stubborn in our hip hop in regards to what we like and what we know, and I never not disliked it, but I respected it because I respected my little homies, and this was their Tupac right here, this was their dude right here, and I didn't really go all the way until Victory Lap.
Right.
And I hate to say that because that was potentially the last album. The last album where I finally was 100% man, my homie's been pitching me this dude all these years, and I was a little stubborn with him until Victory Lap, and I heard Victory Lap, I said, damn, this is the one right here. Yeah. This is the shit right here. This is the classic old school shit. That's how I can say it for myself, bro.
Yeah.
This is the classic old school. This is timeless music. When I heard the Victory Lap, I said, this is timeless music, dog. And I was 100% addicted, committed, whatever the word is,
Yeah,
to say that I support this dude and I'm with it, and now I'm a believer. Like my little homies that are 10
You
years.
became an evangelist.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I was just like, whoa, this dude is the shiznit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes for the older dudes that are from, well, I'll say from a different generation. You know what I mean? It takes a little more for them to get sold on an artist. You know. But I feel like he's just been the last artist, bro, that I've been sold on.
Yeah, I mean,
Unfortunately, I'll say that right now. He's been like the last artist that I've been sold on. And I know I'm skipping forward and I'm kind of changing the subject a little, bro.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, like, dude. Anyways, let's. So I want to say we were talking. I asked you about moving with a unit with him. You said he was funny. It was a good time.
It was a good time. Everywhere we went, like we had a game. We were at the airports in different cities. We'd find doppelgangers of people amongst the crew and just call them by the name, and the people just be, dap them up, and they're just like looking like, yeah. It was just. It's hard to describe. There's so many different moments and so many different things I can point to that it was always good, positive energy, always focused energy.
What did he teach you? What are some good valuable lessons that he taught you while working with him and being in his presence of greatness?
I would say a lot of things. I think the factor of authenticity was further reinforced because I saw him practice it as well. Like any room he went into, he was himself, right? He never added any scoops or changed his vernacular anywhere he went. He was the same person through and through in any room. So that's one, authenticity. Two, the value of brand over business, right?
Yeah.
And that's putting, the brand on a pedestal and making sure that the business decisions don't come to any type of detriment to the brand, right? So sometimes there may be a big bag, but it doesn't align with what your philosophy, your brand, or your own personal ethics.
All money's not good money.
It's not exactly. So
Yeah.
I think those are some of the most critical items, that I carry with me today. And then the other one is just the philanthropic spirit and giving back and staying connected with the community.
Casey.
That's he threw me off right there, so I'm writing this note. All right, I got a list of questions. Let me see which one goes on where we're at right now. And I think that's let me see, because I know different vibes right here.
Yeah. What we got?
Okay, so you played a major role in sharing Nipsey Hussle's brand and visual identity, right? What's one thing about Hussle's vision that you think most people still don't know?
That people still don't know. Man, it's been so widely publicized. I'm trying to think of what I could pinpoint. Because I think the values that we just said is authenticity, staying in it for the long run. I think our people are really well versed on because it's the marathon for a reason. I would just say, bro was not in any type of pursuit for celebrity. I would say that. I mean, and that's very rare form, especially when you're in the eye of the storm and you got all eyes on you and the spotlight on you. That wasn't his objective at all, by no means. What I really admired about everything that he did and represented was the fact that he was intentional with the platform that he had earned. I think he was not somebody that rushed to put out product or to say things just to say things. He was always very thoughtful about everything he said and everything he did.
Man, so calculated it seems like he was.
He was.
I mean, geez, how many years in advance did he have like every step mapped out in his head? Really, he's like, I would love to know that question, like the answer to that question.
Long time. Victory Lab itself started being recorded around 2013 and didn't come out till 5 years later. So it was definitely a long time coming. There was other projects that were dropped, in between that time. But he was somebody, like I said, that's very intentional. He was by no means a fame junkie. Sometimes you find in a game that people, get too big for their bridges and then get in the pursuit of wanting to be famous. He's the opposite, the polar opposite of that.
And how did his mindset shape your mindset about ownership, branding, and legacy?
Man, there's nothing like ownership. I mean, that's what we practice as a brand, as Marathon brand. No one owns us. It's all money in for real. And every dollar made, every dollar invested. You know, so we practice what we preach, and we hope that example, you know, carries on and continues to inspire other people to do the same.
Talk about being a part of LA history, right? You are a part of the history, and it seems like I mean, what point in time did you did you realize your position on the team? You know, did your position on the team elevate as the time went on, and you proved your value as an individual and what you had to offer?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I'm an outlier. You know, for a lot of different reasons.
What is an outlier, bro?
Outlier means something that's outside of the guardrails of something, right? So if you were to see a circle and there's dots inside, I was a dot outside of that, right? That's graphically how I represent that.
Yeah.
And so, for one, I didn't grow up in South Central, right? For two, I have no family or friend ties to the team, right? I don't have that.
Yeah.
For three, I'm Latino, right?
Yeah.
So that, I mean, for face value, I don't think, and that's one thing Nipsey hired from everybody. He was embracing of all cultures. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that's also unique.
He hired on merit.
Yeah, he hired on merit. You know, oftentimes it's perfectly normal. Anytime you have, you know, some situation starts and wherever it starts, you go straight to your friends and to your immediate network.
Yeah, there was no.
Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But no, he hired, like you said, hired on merit.
There's no DEI involved.
No DEI, no DUI. That's what's going on right now with this situation. But that's how
do you feel about the whole
DEI
situation?
I think it's important, man. I think in not acknowledging systematic racism and trying to balance the scales, you know, to help minorities. I think it's just ignoring history and the facts of how things have played out in this country. You know, so to in some form do some type of cultural erasure or historical erasure, I mean, is a huge disservice, you know, because that's not the reality of what happens.
I actually kind of disagree with you on this. I feel like people should be hired on their ability to do the job better than anybody else, regardless of race or color.
Yeah, but let's put it this way, right? Let's say that the majority of the ownership in the company, or if not all, is let's say Caucasian, because that's the people that have had the most access to resources and have maybe owned the company, right?
Yeah.
Inherently, you know, it just happens. If
that's the case, and they're going to utilize their Caucasian brotherhood within their community, right, their realm of network, then they could potentially be losing out from a brother that is Latino or Black that is doing it way better than that individual, and so it's going to open it up a position for another company that can hire that person, and they're going to outdo the other individual in the same.
Yeah, but
that's why you've never seen no color owned golf courses and country clubs, baby. For that reason.
But at the end of the day, who wants to play golf besides
everybody? It's exploding right now.
Now it is.
It's huge.
I'm waiting for ping pong to explode, bro. You know what I mean? But
you look at the advertisement for what's that company, Marbon? Is that the golfing company?
Yeah.
They got black and brown faces all up in there.
It's huge. Now, unfortunately, unfortunately for these older Caucasian men, the door's open for all cultures.
And
at
they
the
have
country
black
clubs now.
and Latino faces because...
Not because of the dollar, because there's participants now. I have homies that you want to go golf?
Because the participants are excelling in the craft of golfing.
Yeah.
So
but that's because now you have access to the course to try it.
100%, and I get that. The golf course is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna fight you on no golf course, bro. In regards to this conversation,
no,
you know what I mean? Because you're gonna win every time in regards to that.
You're saying in terms of DEI, why I think it's important. Man, the tip's got to scale. It's got to tip our way at some point, right?
So what if you're on a plane and this is something that's been. It's been said, and it's an example that's been used 100 times. What if you're on a plane, bro, and the individual was hired on race instead of merit, bro, and then you end up in a plane crash potentially?
I think that belief or that proposition. Are you okay with that?
Are you still sold with that?
I think that proposition that was put, that was a bit off the cuff commentary. rather than like factual. Like I
Wait,
would
the
want to see.
proposition. What's the proposition? What's the commentary?
So the narrative has been that the pilots are hired just strictly on race, right?
Well, there's DEI programs. There's what do they call it besides DEI? It's called what's the other thing called? It's called anyways. Go ahead, brother.
You would still have to have certificates, right, to fly, the same ones that whoever else gets.
Yeah, it seems.
Bro, well, I'll tell you like this. I got a GED, dog,
Yeah.
but I barely got that bitch.
Yeah, you could say the
You want
same
me to
thing.
you want me to teach your kids?
The thing is, you could say the same thing about someone that is quote unquote qualified might have just passed. The same thing. I mean,
It's very
the same
minute
criteria
differences.
can be applied across the board. Is what I'm saying.
What do they call it? Executive what? Not executive. They call it. There's the other thing besides
Affirmative action?
Affirmative
Okay,
action.
I was
Thank
sure you were
you,
talking
bro.
about the old-
Affirmative action.
That's old school.
Affirmative action.
90s.
And you know what, bro? It's like this, dog.
So let me ask you.
Go ahead. Yeah, let's have this
do you
conversation.
think the current administration is all qualified for their position to
No.
do a quantum leap from Fox host to defense secretary?
Well, let's first off, let's do this. So
These are the people that are preaching this, right? So I mean, I would want to see, like, if you're qualified, you're qualified. Whatever
Yes.
color you come in and
Yes.
whatever age, hey man, you got a seat at the table. But I think the way that I interpret DI, or the way I see it, is maybe a combination of what you're proposing, which is merit, and also taking into consideration we need to bring a diverse perspective to the table. You know what I'm saying?
But when you try to have the perspective of bringing a diverse, and that's important besides merit and education and who's going to do the job better, then we're kind of we're fucking shorting whatever scenario we're talking about, in a sense, bro. Just because we want to see a colored person there instead of say what you say, a white person, right?
I mean, my thing is, like, think about if you've been part of the group that has had the least amount of resources and has made it to a position where you can be in consideration and contention. Think about what you bring to the table. Think about the grit and hardship that you have to make it to that spot, and what you would bring to a company.
Depending on the job, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the job, that can play into, right? Where this person is more valuable in regards to the life circumstances.
Right.
You know, but in some circumstances, you may not want that individual to have that job opposed to the other person that can do it better just because of the color of the skin and what they've been through, you know? But I think we're in 2025 where we've kind of like, we're kind of beyond a lot of things. Would you say, or we're still stuck in the past, bro?
I think we are spoiled because we live in LA, and LA
Right.
is the second most populated city, second to Mexico City with Mexicans. So specifically that, but just all encompassing, we're a melting pot of cultures, right?
100%.
And so
Which is a beautiful thing.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
But that doesn't represent the middle of America.
No,
It's
California is
Appalachia.
different, bro. California is different,
California is different.
Yeah.
So, and you know, the proof is in the pudding, and that's why we're one of the
You know
biggest
what?
economies.
You know what I am, bro? I am liberally right.
Right. Okay.
I'm liberal. I'm a liberal, but right.
Yeah.
You know, and so that. But I think I like to be in the middle, bro, where I see both sides of the fence.
Sure.
You know, the woke shit, dog, has been absolutely destructive. I feel. You know, a lot of woke individuals that I've had on this platform, bro.
Yeah.
Have been fucking crybabies, bro. They just it's everybody else's fault. They don't take no accountability on nothing, bro. But at the end of the day, bro, we are here, bro. Like, look at you, dog. Come on, dog. You a prime example, bro.
I am, but I also had people. I had a lot of variables in my situation that played in my favor for my success.
Because
And
you made the right decisions.
because I
And you
I
made
had
the
the
right
good
moves.
foundation, bro.
Well, do you want to
Parents.
call it luck?
It is. It
Okay.
is luck. It's
Okay.
a blessing from God.
Are you-
because
are-
there's people that, you know, might not have had parents, or parents were on drugs, or parents are in and out of jail. Like that instability sets you up for a lot of fucking issues, bro.
1,000%.
A lot of issues. So you don't even have the right footing on life from the beginning.
But so with that said, though, do you think that individual that went through that life should be driving your airplane with your kids on, bro? That is maybe just got hired on through DEI, bro.
I don't think they unilaterally hire people on DEI just as walk-ons, to
Well,
like off the street.
if there's DEI and they need to keep a balance in regards to racism or regards to colors.
I guess really the metric is how much DEI lucky do you really think is a parent? Because it's still primarily Caucasians hiring Caucasians for the job. It's not like DEI wasn't everywhere. It's only just in LA, in New York, maybe some in Austin, and on like the Pacific Northwest. Everywhere else, it doesn't exist.
And ultimately, all of the policies
It doesn't exist nowhere else.
Not like that.
Ultimately, I feel like a lot of these policies that are being enacted, who's in the crosshairs?
Do you think
Who do they look like?
Right, no, 100%, brother.
Who is the largest growing minority? Who's going to become the majority in 10, 15 years? What might that do to everything, to the whole landscape of politics and the economy? So why would you play in the favor of the success of the largest growing minority, specifically speaking, Latinos?
Got to burn that house down before it gets too big.
How do you feel about Latinos being the biggest in voting time of any president? Latinos heavily voted for you know who?
Man, I think it was Latino males, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that
you think females are the opposite.
I know that from what I recall, it's Latino males, and I think the fact that what male our fellow Latino brothers might have done, the mistake we committed was.
Is this so? You said it's a mistake.
I think so.
Okay,
it's playing against us completely.
In regards to what's going on right here within the city, which I don't agree with at all, bro. You know what I mean? In regards to people getting, bro, like, come on, dog. Come, man, homie. Like, check it out. So, like I said again, I'm in the middle, bro.
Okay.
You feel me? And so we had a choice between you voted for Kamala Harris.
I'm a permanent resident. I'm not a citizen, so I don't vote.
And if you would have voted for Kamala Harris.
Man, honestly, because of immigration policies that might have made that favors what I agree with most.
But Obama, bro,
he was the deporter in chief. Yeah, I know. I'm well aware.
Yes.
There's the ones that have been most favorable have ironically been Republican. Right?
Yes.
They've spoken the most favorable things from George Bush Sr., Ronald Reagan. Right? These guys have spoken things. Amnesty happened under Reagan.
I think amnesty should be happening right now, bro.
It's overdue. It's over 86. So we're coming up on 4 years.
Right now. I'm honestly, brother, like. So we've talked about these politics, and these politics have gotten me on the wrong side of my audience. 1,000%.
It's challenging. It's a hot topic.
It's a hot topic. It's challenging. And what I did is I committed political suicide in regards to this podcast right here by sharing some of my viewpoints. And my viewpoints wasn't born overnight, bro.
Yeah.
I have been a leftist, as people would say, from my viewpoints in the past for a long time. But I've been just like, I've had a lot of guests, brother, from both sides. And I've been just like, kind of like, you get an abundance of information and you take it all in. And then at the end of the day, you take it home and you weigh it out, you know? And the only thing...
The left will go center within a couple of years.
You think the left will go center?
100%.
Yeah. It got too far woke.
My thing is, everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I'm also
and that's all
a
I
firm
got
believer.
is an opinion.
I'm also a firm believer that similar to any major Fortune 500 company, you don't plan for 4 years. You don't plan for 8 years. You don't plan for 12. You plan for the long run. So to make any speculation that this shit is not already written is kind of crazy.
Okay.
Because it's the government.
100%.
They're the big dogs.
Oh my God.
This shit is written.
100%. Okay, I agree with you on that, brother.
Yeah.
And we ain't above that
and
at
it's
all
just to keep the people separated against the real issues, guys.
How do you being the fact that you're in the business of garments, right?
Yeah.
You're in the where we get the cheapest
Goods
from
China.
Yeah, goods from China. How do you feel about the tariffs?
Man, it's fucking everybody over.
But do you think it's necessary right now to reset the future, or do you, in regards to bringing it back to the U.S.? I mean, where do you stand on that?
I think that philosophy, from what I've drawn from everything that I've researched and followed, is that it would have to be over the course of decades. In other words, every administration following this one would have to follow suit and follow course on that.
To keep it moving.
And that's typically not the case.
So
it always switches over, and it's always a bunch of things rescinded from the previous administration when it switches hands.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fucking us.
Just
watch 100%
it.
is fucking us right now.
But the majority of our manufacturing we do domestically.
Domestically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, here in LA.
Here in LA.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, bro.
Yeah, we got some good people, man.
Absolutely, brother. And I don't want to get too far into the politics, bro, because it's complicated.
It's complicated, man.
And I want to leave us being friends.
No, I don't even trip on it.
Not
man.
that I feel like we sway any other way besides the way we feel, and I think that we agree on a lot of things. Like, the main thing right now is the deportations.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Bro, I had a homie call me up. A long-time bro of mine.
Yeah.
Older homie of mine. Love and respect with all my heart. He's like, hey, Lucky, what the fuck, bro? I mean, he goes, hey, bro, I mean, they deported me. They're going to deport me, bro.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? You know? And I was just like, and he goes, you don't give a fuck, bro? You know what I mean? Mind you, this is a dude that I ain't talked to for, we talk here and there, you know what I mean? But it's just like, we give a fuck about people. We give a fuck about our people, but as you grow older, you give a fuck about that's within your immediate.
Yeah, it becomes more tangible. It's a lot closer to home, as
right?
they say.
And so he goes, hey, fool, what the fuck? You know what I mean? They deport me, and I'll be like, damn, dog, like I ain't with that shit, bro. You know what I mean? I ain't happy to hear about that, right, bro. You know, but sometimes like shit happens. Right. Like, cause this is I'll make an example. This is a homie that's been here for mad years, right? Like you, right?
Yeah.
Mad years. But what he did, and that could put himself in a position of being deported, is he's been committing crimes all his times out here.
Yeah.
He's been committing crimes the entire time. And now that he's older, he wants to give a fuck, and he wants me to give a fuck. You know what I mean? Right. And yeah, I give a fuck, and yes, you should give a fuck, bro. But let's take accountability of what we've done with
you have to tread lightly in general, but specifically in those circumstances. But I don't know if that reflects every single person. There's people that are law-abiding citizens that pay taxes
that are getting deported.
But here's the thing:
I'm not with that, bro.
This policy is of deportation. Crazy enough, is looking to be indiscriminate in the sense that it's not only going to be immigrants that are being deported, but now there's conversations of Americans being deported as well.
Yeah.
So if you commit a crime here, is it cheaper to keep you here, or is it cheaper to ship you off to El Salvador to CCUT?
That's a cold shot, bro.
That gets tricky right there.
That's a cold shot, bro.
Yeah.
That's a super...
No one ever thought that, never saw that curveball, right?
Bro.
And here we are.
That's a cold shot.
And this was in the public eye, in the Oval Office with President Bukele. That was a conversation. So now Americans are like, oh shit, now it's really close to home. I can't fuck up.
I'll tell you like this, like all my neighbors are paisas, right?
Yeah.
All my neighbors are paisas, bro. And I'll tell you, we have good relationships. Like my family, I have good relationships with a couple of my neighbors, like solid relationships, bro. Like where we just like exchange food.
Dope.
You feel me?
That's how it's supposed to be.
Pozole, you know what I mean?
Man.
Tamales, you know what I mean? Yeah, like that, right?
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, man. That don't make me happy when I feel like sometimes their freedom might be jeopardized. You know what I mean? I don't like that at all, bro. You know
but again, see, this is the thing. You're separating yourself from the batch, because at the end of the day, it's also people that have been lawful residents or that have been deported already.
Yes.
So you fit the description, brother.
Yes.
And you fit actually even a little bit more because you have tattoos.
100%.
That doesn't play to your favor. So what I'm saying, no one right now in the way that it's being done, in order to reach the numbers that have been promised, It's not gonna be done in a strategic fashion.
Yeah.
You know what, bro?
It's a
It's not gonna
sweet.
be very. Yeah. It's not gonna be very. Yeah. Fuck.
You know
That's
what, bro?
tricky.
I do fit the description, bro. And you know what? I'll tell you. He said I fit the description, right? Did he just say I fit the description?
Yeah.
I fit the description, bro. And sometimes people would be like, "Lucky, you ain't even," you know what I mean? Because I'm a half breed, right? You know what I mean, right?
I can't tell you're half breed. Had you not told me,
You're an
I would've known.
American.
No, I'm American, exactly. I'm a proud American, but I'm not proud of everything that we do here. You know what I mean?
We
All
don't
the
get it
time.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. Sometimes people try to count me out in regards to saying, well, you're not full Mexican, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? And I'm
That's
just
it.
like, all right, I'll take that, dog. I've gotten that for a lot of my life through my own family, you know what I mean? My auntie used to call me a zebra. That's his mom.
Oh, really?
His mom.
Bring her in.
She used to call me a zebra, bro. And, but I always like.
Mom did much worse.
but I always like, I'll say this again, bro. I always wanted to be like, I wanted to always be full Mexican, bro, because those are my family, those are the people I was around.
It's in your blood,
But
brother.
I didn't.
You can't deny it.
I didn't.
It's there.
I didn't embrace my Jew side till later on in my life,
Yeah.
where I felt like, damn, this is a superpower within my being, my genetics. You feel what I'm saying?
God's people.
God's people, you know, where I really embraced it. But I say all that to say nothing at all besides
Holy shit. Other than sorry, guys, for that last 30 minutes.
Just sharing a little bit about, you know, sometimes what we go through as individuals in a sense of, I am on the fence, bro, in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, it's it's tough, man. Everybody's
Politics
entitled
is
to
horrible,
wherever you
bro.
want to sit on. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like the script is the same. The players change. You know, that's it. And you just got to figure out, you know, how to take care of yours, and that's it, man. And then be able to help out other people if you have the capacity to do so, and that's it, man.
And I told my boy, I said, hey, bro, if they deport you, bro, you know what I mean? I got you, dog.
That's funny. Nip used to say the same.
I said, bro, I swear to God, I told
yeah,
my
for
homeboy,
sure.
I said, dog, if they support you, dog, well, shit, you got me, fool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to make some money out that way, dog. I'm going to fucking float you some money. We're going to get a business cracking,
Yeah.
and we're going to figure that shit out. You know what I mean? Even if I got to fucking pull up in a motherfucking, you know, whoop-de-whoop-whoop, we'll get you out of that bitch, you know? But you said Nipsey told you the same
Yeah,
thing.
he would say that all the time because he was aware of my situation back in the day. So he was just like, yeah, man, if ever, you know, like there was one time, I'll tell this story. It was actually, I don't think I've ever told it on a pod.
Sheesh.
So this was a pretty
Exclusive.
crazy one. We were in we were in Miami in 2015. We were recording Victory Lap. And we rented a house in North Miami Beach, real nice house, like 3 stories, 6 bedrooms, you know, a stone's throw away from the Fontainebleau, just across the water. Beautiful home, right?
Yeah.
And so we went there, you know, with the intention of recording. And one of them, you know, we were there for, like I said, 4 weeks. So like 1 week or 2 weeks into this trip, one of our partners, who was like the A&R of the music project and like a business conduit of the team, he would fly back and forth from Miami to New York because, you know, he got his family. And so I was the one that had rented the car. I rented like a little shader car, like a little Impala from Enterprise or something like that. Nothing too crazy. I think this was week 1. Because later we got Ferraris and all type of other shit later. It just went crazy. My bro went crazy. But first week was like, all right, we're here for business. We're going to get a point A to point B vehicle. And I got a little Impala. But anyways, I say this all to say, I was just about to step out from the house to go to the airport to go pick up my brother Steve-O, right, who's from New York. And just as I'm about to pull off, you know, nipping at him like, hey, bro, can we go? We got to go, you know, grab some weed at the Fontainebleau. You mind taking us there? I said, for sure. We hop in the car. We go to the Fontainebleau. Like I said, it's like about 5 minutes away from the house. Pull up, grab the weed, and we're trying to make a beeline straight back to the house because I got to go pick up Steve-O still. You know, Steve was about to land or probably had landed at that time. And so just as we're about to turn onto a street, you know, leading to the house, there's a Walgreens on the corner, and we needed dishwashing soap. So we stopped to go get dishwashing soap at the Walgreens.
Yeah.
And I pulled my first and last handicap parking violation ever of my life. Because, you know, my brother Hustle, he park wherever he wants. And this guy, I don't know how he does it, but he just does everything that nobody else can do. And he gets away with it. Like in the good, you know, in the good way, he figured it out. So I park in the handicap. Adam and Nip hop out. They go get the dishwashing soap. Parking lot's kind of full too. So a lot of movement. So I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm thinking, oh, this should be out here in like, you know, about 5-10 minutes or whatever. Park regular. And I'm thinking if anyone needs to park, I'll just pull out. Yeah. Sure enough, I get bumped up right there, right? At first, it's just one police officer, and then it becomes like, you know, they check the glove compartment. They find a little bit of weed. I don't know how many ounces it was. It was nothing. It was less than 20 ounces, I know for sure, because otherwise it would have been a felony. Yeah. So it turned out to be a misdemeanor. So it's a little bit of weed. I don't even smoke. There's the irony of all of this, right? But the car is, you know, rented out to my name. It's my insurance, all that stuff. Yeah. And so they're still taking a while because the store was busy. You know, like I said, the lot was practically full. Probably another reason why I parked in the handicap, if I recollect correctly. So at this point, it becomes one cop car, then 2 cop cars, then 3, then 4 cop cars, and then a tow truck to take the car. Now I'm in the back of the police car, right? And by the time, you know, Nip and Adam walk out of the store, they just walk out with like a bag full of groceries and just see like, fuck is going on? They're looking at me. I mean, I guess for the satire of it all, it was like that scene in Superbad. You know what I'm saying? It was that fucking scene. I was fucking McLovin.
We love McLovin.
Yeah. But they walk out and they just like, Hustle just goes to the office and like, hey bro, like that's not his, you know, what happened? No, the weed. He's like, no, that's my weed. He's a, you know, college student, this, that, and the third. Just like, tell the truth, you know what I'm saying? Like he don't smoke. This is my weed, and they're like, no, it's under this car's registered under his name. It goes on him, and so he's just like, man, he was just like, fuck, man, like we just went to go get dishwashing, so we didn't think nothing of it, cause you buy weed here all day. If you used to get caught back in the day, you know, it was a slap on the wrist.
What state are we in?
We're in Florida.
Okay,
we're in Florida. Yeah, so. Anyone that knows Florida, you know, the laws are made up north in Tallahassee, which is conservative. Has nothing to do with the lifestyle of Miami. Miami is like party city and super liberal.
Liberal.
Yeah, Miami. Yeah,
Miami's super liberal. Yeah, but where we're at, we're super fucking Trump fucking tantaranzan, all that shit.
Up north, right? Yeah. So, anyways, I get arrested. I get taken to. Actually, in fact, when I'm waiting there, Red Cafe walks out too with his groceries or his shit from Walgreens and looking at it. Man, what's up, bro? This became this big thing, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just looking at everyone through the back seat of the police car, and I'm just like, man, what the fuck? I just parked in the handicap. I offered to fucking pull. I said, look, I'll take the ticket, but let me just move out. You know, I'm thinking it's not no fucking big deal, but like it is what it is. So I got this journey started. This story started off at like around 8 p.m. And then I get transported to a holding cell in what's it called, South Beach. So I'm the first one in the holding cell, all by myself, and I'm like, just like, fuck, man. It's some bullshit, man. Over a little bit of weed, I'm like, I don't even smoke, but it is what it is, you know. It could have been worse, right? Could have been something else, but it's regular, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm thinking we bailed out. I'm not even understanding or taking the gravity at the time, having been like a dreamer, right? So like how this could put everything in jeopardy. Like it could have been a way worse, right? So anyways, I end up staying in the holding cell in South Beach for a couple hours, and then starts filling up with people as they start coming in. People that got in bar fights, people that got caught in a fucking cocaine transaction, you know, right there on Collins or something. And then it starts to get fuller and fuller. You got crimies coming in, like a Haitian cat that sold some coke to an Australian guy that was on vacation.
And you having all these conversations with these dudes.
I'm having all the conversation. I'm sober. I'm just like, fuck. When am I going to get out of here?
Innocent dude in the fucking holding tank.
Nah, there's people regular. They just go on vacation, just make a poor decision. They get in a fight, drink a little bit too much, just regular shit.
That's me.
So now it's midnight, and I think at around 2 or 3 in the morning, we get transported from the holding cell in South Miami Beach to Dade County Jail. And so then you go through the processing. You know, you get processed into Dade County Jail. You go through the whole checking in your property, your mug shot, You know, the squat and cough, all of that shit.
Yeah, you did all that.
All of that.
Did you enjoy that?
I did not. I did not. I'm not voyeur by no chance, or exhibitionist rather. No, I was just like, this is some bullshit. But whatever. You go through it, and you're hearing all the stories. And at this point, we go from 3 a.m. all the way until maybe 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. the following day. And then I'm finally able to get released. They take me to, I forget where. I get zip tied to some other spot, and they drop me off in the middle of like downtown Miami. And I walk out, and then I hop in the Uber and pull up in the Uber back to the mansion.
Yeah.
And Nip is just pacing back and forth like in the driveway, concerned on the phone, probably trying to figure it out. And he's like looking like, who's pulling up to the driveway? He sees me, a sigh of relief, and he paid for the criminal lawyer for all the expungements you can do, to get it all cleared. I had to take like a drug class online, and I'll pay like $5,000-$6,000 worth of lawyer fees and legal fees. And yeah, that shit was clear.
How do you feel about within this Latino community, within the homies, right? You're sitting right here on a kind of like a homie podcast right now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? You sitting with I say we represent a certain section within this community, but how do you experiencing that?
Yeah.
And then individuals within this community hold that with a badge of honor in regards to doing time, and
it was less than 24 hours.
No, and I get that, but so you got a piece of it. You got a little bit. You got your palate wet.
It's bullshit, man. No one deserves to be in a fucking cage.
But it comes with hip hop.
Yeah.
It comes with rap. It comes with West Coast rap.
Yeah.
It comes with the city. It comes with Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
It comes with the dude that's sitting across from you right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? In regards to the culture, this is what carves the culture. This is what has potentially given you opportunity within the world, which is doing time, prison time.
The badge of honor, right?
Yeah, prison time. You feel what I'm saying, dog? Like this is a part of you, but not a part of you because you're a part of this culture.
Right.
But you don't, you know what I mean? You haven't experienced that besides what you said right
one
now.
Singular item, yeah.
Exactly, you know what I mean? And so when we're a part of a certain culture, like a Nipsey Hussle culture, you know what I mean? Rolling 60s, come on now, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're sitting right here with your boy Lucky from Highland Park. This is a part of the culture of doing time, bro.
For sure.
This is what shapes the lyrics. This is what shapes these individuals, And I know Nipsey didn't do no crazy time or anything like that. Yeah. And I really, really, really I salute the dude, you know what I mean, for being so just brilliant in the sense of just being a street dude, you know what I mean? And taking what he's taken from these dudes that he's been around that has done all the time and been able to just put it together in a sense of with the music, everything like that. But it is a part of what you're a part of, brother.
Right. No,
you know what I mean?
I'm well aware of that. It's nothing that I would wish upon anybody. I'm hoping that the mentality shifts, that's not the badge of honor.
I believe it has.
I want people to be the badge of honor to take care of your kids, hold down a household with your family, be responsible with your money, start some shit, put your people on. Anything that's destructive, self-destructive, or is not in the betterment of your community and your people and the people that you love, I mean, we got it backwards, man.
Do you think that Nipsey Hussle was putting something out that was not destructive?
I think Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3 was a accurate reflection of what his experiences were up until that point. But it was more introspective than it was anything that would be classified as glorifying. I don't think at any point was glorifying. Now you go to everything post-marathon, everything was about setting your intentions on something and going for it and being patient with it and having faith, through the process of whatever it is you're pursuing and being okay with, the shift in gears from a lifestyle that you've known your whole life into something new, trying something new that's going to be for the betterment of yourself and for the people you love and that are around you. And I think we reflect it, we practice what we preach, like if you look at our, everything from Slauson Tees to Slauson Ave to the Marathon Clothing Store, everybody that was employed there was homies from the neighborhood that wouldn't have got the same opportunities in other places. And these are people that we love and that we trust and, are integral part of our team. So like, a lot of people say, I want to put my people on, or I want to, take care of my community. Hussle practice what he preached, so it was not just lip service.
Brother, I hit you with a little resistance right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you the one, bro. You the one.
I just want to go
the way you responded to what I just hit you with, brother, you know what I mean? Legit, and I 100% respect it, bro. 1,000%. And that's why you're in the position that you're in, bro. You know what I mean? With the Marathon Company, brother. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to give you a little bit of resistance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In regards to the question that I asked you. And you answered it thoroughly, respectfully, honorably, and everything. If Black Sam's listening right now, which I love that dude. I think
that's the man.
Oh man, I love.
He's the truth.
Black Sam, bro. Like that's one of my dream interviews. Anyways, but if he's listening, I would say that he'd be proud of your response to what I asked you.
Nah, thank you, brother. I mean, like I said, I think everybody is entitled to dream. Everybody's entitled to have peace in their life, man.
Peace is important.
Any type of instability or just having to look over your shoulder or having to deal with bullshit, like, comes with certain environments, and I'm well aware of that, but I think people, man, they got to rise to the occasion and give themselves a chance, man. People deserve... I know so oftentimes when people are plucked out of their situation into another space and they get to see, how calm and how constructive things can be. I mean, I think everybody deserves just to have an opportunity to dream, and just have stability and peace. But it's a long road ahead, I think, for a lot of people in a lot of our communities, because we're plagued with so much shit that, we're, drowning in it.
I spent 13 years in the penitentiary. You know what I mean? And what we have right here now on Hood Stocks is we have hope.
Yeah.
We have hope. And that's something that I like to illuminate, right? I like to illuminate hope. You know what I mean? And hope starts in one place, and that's with the individual. Hope. Let me fix my 7 hat, dog. Hope starts with the individual, and for a lot of years, brother, I had hope. I had hope, and I thought that I was better than the situation that I was in at the times.
Yeah,
you feel me? Nipsey Hussle, he was the definition of hope. What he did, his magnitude. This is a state of earthquakes, right? I mean, magnitude. We'll talk about magnitude. I mean, the dude was the biggest earthquake in the city, and sometimes it sucks when we don't understand the magnitude of the earthquake until the demise of the individual.
Yeah.
It's weird the way that it happens, and it sucks the way that it happens, but you knew it all these years because you were hand in hand with the man.
Yeah, definitely. I think anybody that had the opportunity to meet him, like I said, fell in love with him and was invested into everything that he was pushing and everything that he was practicing and that he was exemplifying.
What would you say? So there's young artists that are watching you right now, bro.
Right.
There's Latino artists that are watching you right now. There's young homies that are watching you right now. And if you can give them some game right now, bro, in regards to what you might have witnessed first-handly from Nipsey Hussle,
yeah,
what would be some of the game that you would give them in regards to pursuing their dreams?
First off, get started. Give yourself a chance to fail. You know what I'm saying? I think oftentimes we want to get it right the first time, and that's rarely the case. Like might bump your head against the wall a couple of times so you get it right and you figure it out. Another thing I think, what his life and his career was a testament to was to the journey of working towards something over time and being patient with it and having faith. I think the faith component is oftentimes overlooked because it almost is too tied to a specific religion or personal belief, but faith is, what you can't see, right? That's how it's defined. It's what you can't touch and you can't see, but it's something that you experience and that you feel. And there's different critical moments in your life that you look around and there's nothing else you could explain that to than, something higher, higher than us, right? So I would say operate with faith, man. I mean, again, there's things that are for you and things that aren't for you, and you gotta trust your gut instinct, and that's one thing I think Nip did a lot. Even in the face of several people, saying that he made his decision to leave a major label was a stupid decision. That was, why you blew your only chance or your big opportunity, and him betting on himself. That's another lesson, right? Just bet on yourself. I think this thing, you get one chance to do it, your life, and you got to do it on your own terms. However you feel, where your heart leads you, and your brain, directs you. You gotta go. You gotta move in that direction. Don't let the outside noise and influence, maneuver the wheel for you. You gotta be in the driver's seat.
You ever meet P. Diddy?
In quick passing, this was at I think it was, might have been like a Meek Mill show. Meek Mill at the Palladium. And he was like he was just right there by the door. Like, what's up? That's it. Thankfully, never beyond that. And the stories that are coming out are crazy, man. If half of them are true.
I don't know if they're true or not, but yeah.
He created an enemy, by wanting to. I think the abuse of women, I think that's caught on camera. That's caught in HD. So that's not something to highlight or celebrate. He was beating this girl. You know what I'm saying? That's not fabricated. That's not AI. This woman has to carry
settled. That case is settled.
Right. So that's
what we're talking about.
Cassie. Yeah.
So that's a real thing. The man was a woman beater.
No, that's a settled case.
That's outside of obviously the other allegations that are being made. Now, if like I said, if half of it is true, it's really bad. But
if half of the homosexual ones are true, that's really bad.
I mean, the homosexual thing to me, everybody, whatever floats your boat, you do whatever you want to do, brother. You could do whatever you want to do in your bedroom or wherever you want. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's consensual and people are not, underage, hey, man, do it. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
What has your experience been within this, the Hollywood community?
Chill. My experience we're not Hollywood, we're tight knit. We're in South Central. That's where we were for the last decade plus. Is in South Central. Other than that, now we're in West Hollywood of all places. But that's because that's where business has led us. With our clothing store, with the Marathon clothing store, and also with Marathon Burger. But as far as like us intermingling or interacting with anyone, it's been regular. Like we come in, to handle business, and we're out. We're with our team in our community.
Who's Black Sam to you?
Man, that's my big brother, man. It's my Jorge, my oldest son's godfather. He's the definition of sacrifice. He's the person that's gonna put everyone before himself, in every situation. And the more I learn about him through his family, he's been like that since he was a kid. Every time Nipsey would talk about him, he would sing high praises about him. He's a person that, like I said, is the ultimate grinder. Is the person that, has an unrelenting work ethic.
That's amazing. Black Sam is definitely one of those figures. But to transition off of the Nipsey and Sam, let's get more back into you yourself, JP. Like,
sure.
When you look back at your legendary photos and visuals, what is the one that means the most to you personally?
Man, there's a lot. You know, I've been blessed to be around a lot of rare air.
Yeah.
But obviously, the one that's that strikes me the most and is the most personal to me is anything with Nipsey. And I think our first like true labor of love project and full collaborative effort was the marathon. So shooting the marathon cover and designing that, I think, was probably like the most defined bullseye hit of the type of work that we got to do together. But then there's like a whole body of over a decade's worth of photos that that represent a huge facet of his life and in all components.
God, I mean, you captured so many photos, even like photos. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know you took those photos.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's sometimes you get overloaded with so many pictures. Sometimes you forget like, the person behind the camera, has been doing their thing. And then you're just like, boom, your portfolio is just so huge, man.
Yeah, man. I think this is a fun era because now I think that the photographer or the documentarians are getting highlighted a lot more.
Yeah.
I was part of a project called Contact High in 2018, 2019. That was a book that chronicled the visual history of hip hop from inception to present date.
Yeah.
And so it was it was a exhibition and book that toured from LA at the Annenberg of Space Photography.
Wow.
To New York, to Dubai, to Seattle.
What's your relationship with WAC 100?
I don't have any. I have never met the man.
Hey, to get back into
Hold on, Casey. Hold on, Casey, my dog. I took a leak. I'm sorry, guys. You know what, brother? I don't like. This is what it is what it is, and we ain't got to get too deep into this. You know what I mean? Nipsey should still be here. And I'm not gonna look at homie for us all to realize that and know that. You know what I mean? And this is a problem with. This is the hood, bro, is sometimes hateful on another man doing his thing. Then we have situations that happen, and I'm trying not to look at the big dog right here. You know what I mean? The situations that happen, that neighborhood stuff happens, bro. And at the end of the day, oh man, he's one of the dudes within the hip hop community, bro, that we just really, really, really dissect. We look at, and we cannot avoid all the signs in the road in the sense. You know what I mean? In regards to the man's demise. The dude was fucking absolutely amazing, bro. He was a fucking dude. What he was doing, we know what you guys have in regards to have kept going. But where would Nipsey be at right now?
Man, Nipsey would have, I think, another album or 2 or 3 already out by this point. Definitely would be on board all the projects that we've been working on that are an extension of his ideas. All of these are things that are following his blueprint and his roadmap of ideas. Because my brother was, avid planner. In every studio space that he had dry eraser boards,
like
notebooks.
That, huh?
Yeah.
Like that, huh?
Yeah. No,
dry eraser boards, bro.
Yes, all day.
I want to emphasize that, bro.
Yeah.
Dry eraser boards.
He's planning.
Of what we doing.
He was a firm believer, not only thinking about things but writing it down.
What do you think about the Big Boy interview with Black Sam?
It was dope. I mean, it was. I think it went into depth into a lot of things I think people wanted to understand better or know.
Black Sam don't come out for nothing.
No.
Bro, like, for Big Boy to get that interview, that's huge.
Yeah, I think it was a relationship. Big Boy's always been a supporter of the brand and the team and Hustle. So I think, Sam, was open to the idea to do an interview of sorts.
I listened to the interview 2 times because it was so important. If you guys haven't taken the time to look at the Big Boy interview with Black Sam, you'll be able to put some of the pieces of the puzzle together to what's going on currently, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Black Sam is a real dude, bro.
Real deal.
But Black Sam, he was saying that when Nipsey was a kid baby, bro, like that, not a baby, bro, but come on now, you know, we emphasize that different ways within the community. You know, I mean, the babies, the homies. He was bringing computer parts together, this and that. Like the dude was a genius from the gate. Like he was ahead of like whatever was going on within his community. Like 100%. Like he was way ahead of what was going on and what youngsters were doing. And he said that it would blow his mind that his brother was like, I'm gonna put these computer parts together. You know what I mean? That really stuck out to me within that interview, and obviously a lot of other things, man. I don't want to get too deep in that. I don't want to take you into that, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because have you ever done a no jumper interview?
No.
Why not?
It's not my style personally.
Yeah.
You know, I like things that are productive and constructive, and it's a bit more provocative for my taste. I don't knock nobody that does it, but for me, I'm more about like uplifting conversations, and not to say that there's not parts that they do that aren't, but at this point it's gone down a different road that maybe it's not what I subscribe to.
Yeah.
Whatever anyone wants to do, look, there's different channels on a TV for a reason, you know what I'm saying? And you choose the channel you want to watch.
Put the phone number. Could we take phone calls?
Let's do it. Come on.
Let's take phone calls. Let's get phone calls, dog. Yeah, I wanted to do that earlier, dog. I love you, dog. Thank you,
Come on,
bro.
love you, brother. I knew we were gonna connect, man.
Yeah, we good, baby, right? We
Come
good,
on.
dog?
Let's
we
do it.
baby.
Let's do it.
Let's get phone calls. Phone calls. Let's get phone calls. Let's open it up to the community right here. I ain't got all the questions. I ain't got all the whoop-de whoop whoops. You know what I mean? Casey, did you put the phone number up? Casey's just playing with his dick over there. Shout out to my cousin, one free shot. Shout out to this is my nephew.
That's right.
That's my nephew.
I was
right
gonna
there.
bring my son, but I'm like, he might burn out at a certain point. I knew we were gonna go for the deep end.
They call him Frosty the Kid, bro.
Frosty the
He's
Kid.
17
that's right.
years old. He's raised up in Rosemead as well, like
Nice.
you, bro.
Come on, man.
Bro, he's doing great things, dog.
I love it, man.
He raps, bro.
That's right.
He's
on,
dope,
man.
bro. He's hard.
Hell yeah.
The dude is hard as fuck. Huh, cuz? All that shit.
It's that new era, man. He's gonna shoot his own video, do his own website, everything, man. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we're at that era. Let's go. Oh, they're already blowing up. Let's go. You're on Hood Stocks. Talk to us.
Hey, what's up, man?
What up, dog?
Hi, guys.
What's your name? Where you calling from, my dog? Let's go.
All right, I'm Jorge. I'm calling from Madera, California, bro.
What's up, Tocayo?
What's up, man? Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, I'm just tuning in right now. A little 10, 15 minutes that I just seen, bro. It's fucking straight up game, you know? Trying to level up.
Appreciate it, man. Come on, let's do it. Let's get to it.
Like that. Hell yeah. I just wanted to send mine to Lucky, you, Tocayo, and
Appreciate it,
much
Tocayo.
love.
Thank you, man.
That's
Appreciate
love,
you, brother.
buddy.
Thanks
Appreciate
for calling
you,
in.
dog. Hey, you're on Hood Stocks. Talk to us.
What? Damn, Lucky you did it.
Did what, dog?
Nah, dude, I just been I'm sitting outside, like, listening to, you know, because I'm a big ass, you know, Nip fan, and you know, man, saludos, homies. I got it. I just want to jump in and say, man, and it's sorry to say this, but man, I know you as Letty's husband.
There we go.
You know
It
what I
happens.
mean?
No, it happens at least once a month.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
My wife is big time, man. She talks to
Yeah,
LA
yeah.
every day. I can't beat that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's big
and
time,
I was
bro.
so
Big
this
time.
whole Nip thing.
Letty, shout out to you,
she's
bro.
big time. I love her, you know, with all the respect, and you too, homie. I didn't know the whole thing. I didn't know the whole. I was just looking up and I was like, oh shit, damn. You know, you're eres paisa también, así como yo.
Yep.
You know, but damn, dude, yeah, but I'm gonna hate respect. I didn't know because obviously we hear her on the radio,
Yep.
and but yeah, she's awesome, and dang, but it's good to see how she has a good man.
No, thank you, brother.
That's it. You have a
Sort
good
the
woman.
fucking shit out, bro.
I'm a lucky guy, man. I get it. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Jorge.
Hey, you're on Hood Stocks. Let's go, baby.
Hey, what's up? This is Heather.
What's up, Heather?
What's up, Heather?
Me and my son Zion wanted to say hi, and we love watching your podcast.
Thank you,
Say
love.
hi. Hi.
What's up, Zion?
Say straight representing Whittier. All right, have a good night.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though I say no kid should be tuning to this shit right here.
This is the one to tune in, though.
This is the one to tune in.
It's good. Not too. We didn't get too crazy.
Yeah, let me see.
Not yet.
No, not yet. This is no comment after when those come in. No comment.
Okay, so
Oh, hold on. It's coming. The phone calls are coming.
I can't ask my questions, Lucky?
Yeah, ask your question, sir. Sorry.
Hey, you came up with documenting the golden era of West Coast hip hop. In your eyes, how have you seen the culture of LA evolve from when you started to now?
Man, we're on the main stage, and the person waving the flag the highest in all of the game and arguably all of the music world right now is Kendrick Lamar. So we're right in position. I think it's been a long time coming. I think this thing started brewing up since 2005 with Game, and it's just been getting more momentum as the years have passed. And I think more artists are collaborating with one another, aside from instead of just working on their own accord, and kind of like creating barriers. I think we took a page out of the South notebook and said, look, there's power in numbers, and when there's a movement, that's when there's greater motion. And
Let's go.
we see what's happening right now. If we went to the Pop Out concert at the Kia Forum. That's what it's called,
were you
right?
there? Were you
I
there?
was there. It was amazing. It was legendary. Yeah, I got lucky. The perks,
The perks, baby, let's go.
of being Lefty's husband. You know what I'm saying? She got us right there. Hey, I can't front. Thank you, baby. Appreciate it. No, but on the real though, she did get us some phenomenal tickets, and we're right there, like with arguably one of the best views. And yeah, it was incredible. It was like a cool homecoming to see all the homies that I've known, over the last 20 years, that have been on the grind, coming up, getting the opportunity to bless that stage, and obviously to see Kendrick, take his victory lap after that back and forth with Drake and doing his thing. It was, man, nothing short of amazing.
Drake, man.
Yeah, man.
It's about time, right?
I mean, it was a good one, But once you call someone you know what I'm saying? There's no turning back from that. That was a critical blow. I told my wife if Kendrick comes with that and makes it into a song or fits it into a song, that's gonna be pretty bad. And I thought that was his next move. And sure enough, we're in Vegas for the Canelo fight. She plays Me Not Like Us on the phone, and I'll be honest, I didn't quite catch it at that time through the phone speaker. But then when I heard it later, I was like, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
And crazy enough, on that same trip, we're on the same flight back with Mustard. And so when I'm at valet at the Burbank airport, I give
Talk your shit, dog.
I tell no, we were at Southwest. we're smart, we're buddy. So I see Mustard, and I obviously know Mustard through Nip and everything that we've done together. And I told Mustard, man, you do this guy a fucking a Hail Mary, you gave him the nuclear bomb, bro. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
How's Mustard, bro? Is he a good dude?
He's a good dude, man. He works hard. Everything that a lot of these guys, have earned, I think they deserve it, man. Like YG's another one. YG, he's been the same person through and through from the time I met him until present day. He's always very humble, always goes out of his way in a room full of people to show love and say what's up. Very personable. I've been blessed to be around some dope people, man.
And so if you were to, once again, I want to do this again, dog.
Yeah.
Giving some of these youngsters some game, bro, in regards to navigating within this this medium, this realm, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's to be humble, right?
Yeah, you just gotta be humble, man. I mean, and like I said, play your position. You know what I'm saying, you don't want to outshine. You let your talent speak for itself. You know, don't let your mouth try to speak before your talent or your work ethic that you contribute.
How do you feel within this community, bro? This community is really tough, brother. This community is tough in the sense of just so many different sections.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And being the fact that you don't have to worry about affiliations in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're kind of like outside looking in a sense, but at the same time inside looking in, because it affects people that you're really, really fucking with. Like, I mean, how do you feel about this culture within Los Angeles?
It's complicated. It's very complicated and deeply rooted, and then it's gotten even further entrenched. You know, as people get institutionalized and everything that happens behind those bars. Man, it's really complicated. I'm hoping like I said, there's a shift in mentality, and less people subscribe to being involved in that street life, because we've had enough decades where you've seen the same story unravel time and time again, you know, and you hear about stories like, oh, I've been to 100 funerals, and like, bro,
History.
you're 24 years old. What the fuck you mean you've been to 100 funerals?
History repeating
That's not
itself.
right. That's not right.
Let's talk about that one homie that I think it was in Inglewood. What's that dude? Something 100. And there was a ring cam on that shit, dog, where he just like.
Are you talking about Slim?
Slim.
Terrible, man. I was a good dude.
Did you know him personally?
Yeah, I had a handful of interactions. Always
Slim-
was around the
Slim
same.
400,
Slim 400. He was a great dude, man. A ball of energy. Any room he walked into, he lit up. He was the life of the party. Just a really good person. So to have seen everything that happened, that was, man, just super heavy, man. And I really feel for his family, and obviously for YG and his team with all of that happened.
How do we fix that?
How do we fix that?
If you were in a position that's if you were in a position where your opinion mattered.
Yeah, I think resources and having an outlet to express to be in a safe space, even if it might not be in your home. I think having those type of things readily available and accessible to you, at a young age, I think makes a world of a difference. And let's put an example in Nipsey's case. Even though he did grow up on Crenshaw and Slauson in the 60s, he still was and went to Markham Middle School in Watts, and it was super active there. He still had the Watts Music Center. So he had an outlet to express himself creatively. Had he not had that, the story might have been a little bit different. He still got involved in the streets, but he had one foot in the streets, and he also was doing the music thing. And fortunately for him, he was able to carve a lane and a path for him, that was able to, wean him off little by little from the streets, from being involved in it at least. But I think when you look at any success story and you follow the breadcrumbs back to, its origins, it's always about resources and having access to things, to be able to try new things and become entrenched in things and passionate about things. You don't want to become passionate about the wrong things. That's one part. The other part is, I think, more examples of the family unit, and understanding how important that is and how critical that is for a kid coming up. I think when you don't have that stability in your home, and that happens for a multitude of reasons, from people of all walks of life, in minority communities specifically. It sets us, our people, and minorities in general, up for failure.
What do you think about checking in? Do you think that people should be checking in within the city?
Checking in what capacity and in what definition, right? I think checking in and the capacity of like tapping in with your folks that are from different cities that you fuck with.
Yeah,
that makes sense,
right? Yeah,
I think that makes sense. That's just like a sign of respect. It's like going to It's like if a foreign dignitary goes to another country, you know, they go check in, you know, with another dignitary, you know, like that's the meeting. You don't just go in there blindly. In the sense of setting yourself up for some form of extortion, I don't think so. I mean, unless you.
What do you think about P&B Rock, bro?
Man, that broke my heart when I saw that. Honestly, it was one of those situations.
That's Roscoe's right there, right in the neighborhood,
yeah,
right?
on the east side, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know how that, because you know there's certain places that have a gravity to it that when you pull up somewhere you're like, man, this is probably not the right place. Anywhere you go, in any city you go, you feel it and you're like, this is probably not the one to go to, right?
Have you ever felt that?
Yeah, there's places that you
Within the camp?
You're saying in terms of like places to go to?
Within the camp that you felt like I don't think we're too safe right here. Within the Nipsey Hussle camp.
I mean, it can happen anywhere, you know, and if you have someone that's a prominent figure, you know, that people either admire or may envy, yeah, I mean, anything can happen, you know. I think you have to keep your head on a swivel and, you know, make sure you're responsible in the way that you move. You know, you got to move presidential as much as you can.
Who's the boogeyman of hip hop?
The boogeyman of hip hop? Man, I think at one point it was definitely Suge, because he had not only the street backing, but he had the money. He had hundreds of millions of dollars.
And after that, who took up that reign?
I don't know, man. I can't even. I wouldn't be able to pinpoint who that would be because we never, you know.
Absolutely.
We moved on our own accord.
I apologize about that, brother.
Yeah.
It's a random question.
But Suge, I think, you know, that the legend has it. He's at the Source Awards and he's fucking chains, you know, as people are walking in. So Fat Joe, retells his story. So.
What is hip hop to you?
Hip hop to me at this point is a global phenomenon, you know, that echoes in every corner of the world, that is reflected not only through music, but also through fashion, through lifestyle, and a whole plethora of other things that I think people have adopted and have embraced. And that's why this genre is, you know, 50 years strong and is going to continue to push forward.
How do you feel about Latinos using the N-word?
That's a complicated one. I just actually watched an episode in which you were talking about someone saying that, I think at the community or podcast, right?
With maybe Blasey.
I think that's what you said.
But I think that was a selective politicking. That was selective politician, because sometimes, depending on the individual that's saying the word, is depending on the individual that's going to react to the person saying the word. You know what I mean?
I can't
because
speak.
Blasey's my dog. Fuck that. Blasey's my dog.
I can't speak for any individual other than myself. And so as it pertains to myself,
Do you say the N-word?
I don't. I grew up in a
Why
community.
do you not say the N-word?
I grew up in a community that was predominantly Latino and Asian. So that was not a word that was commonly used. One.
Do you say it when you're listening to
like if you rap, everybody does. Go to a concert and everybody raps it. In that way, yes.
Yes.
But as far as like in my daily conversation, no, that's not how I grew up saying it. But I can understand a situation, like I think like you were saying with Blasey, or anyone that grew up in South Central in an area that was
expound on it.
Was black and brown or predominantly black, like for instance like a Cap G. If you grew up in an all black project, it might have been very common to say.
Right? And then we got Bodachi, we got a lot of hip hop. What is one of your favorite Latino artists?
My favorite Latino in rap?
Yeah, rap.
Like I said, I like G. I think he's dope. He's one of the ones that I'm really like tapped into.
I want to tell you this. King Lil G texts me like my boy texted me like a week ago, maybe a few days ago, probably a few days ago. King Lil G texted me a few days ago, and he said, "Lucky," he goes, "I need a hat." And I said, "I got you, dog." But when you text me, bro, I'm just trying to like what else can we get cracking right here? I mean, I need an interview too.
I just need a hat. And this one specifically. So
I love
at me,
bro. I have a regret with King Lil G because when King Lil G came on the podcast, bro, and we talked prior to the podcast, right? Like sometimes we do. I said, "What do you want to do, dog?" He was like, "I just want to chill for this and that." I was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? So I thought it was gonna be a party, bro.
Right.
And
And went
mind,
a different direction.
And mind you, our environment in the studio, bro. Let me tell you. Let me paint the picture of you real quick. It was like, you see what we got right here?
Yeah,
Not a
yeah.
lot of space, bro.
It was
Not
probably
a-
packed.
Oh, bro, fucking packed,
Bro, it was
bro.
deep.
Packed with his boys, my boys, and I thought it was gonna be a party, bro. Like, all right, we partying, bro. You know what I mean? But he got on some real shit, on some shit that he was feeling about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we did what we did. You know what I mean? And I say all this to say that I hope that King OG, my dog, I love you, bro. I mean, when it comes to like live performances, bro, like King Lil G and Drummer Boy, bro, they don't got the lyrics playing in the background. They're really
No
giving
vocal
you,
track, yeah.
they're
Straight
no-
out.
they're giving you the heat, bro.
As it should be. It's 2025, man.
I mean, what'd you think about what did we just have? The
Rolling Loud?
Rolling Loud, bro.
Yeah.
Rolling Loud. Come on,
Amazing.
dog.
I love it.
Bro, what the fuck? We got Peso Pluma, we got Peso, we got
Peso's dope too.
bro, we got everybody,
Wow.
right? A lot of Latino artists that have never been on that circuit.
But it makes sense though, man. I mean, we've always been part of the culture as it comes to LA. Latinos have been there since the birth of hip hop, on the Puerto Rican side. But once it made its way out to LA, Mexicans, Latinos in general have been there, like all the pillars. I think oftentimes we may be counted out in terms of like or considered appropriators of the culture, but we come in peace, and not only do we come in peace, we come to peace up, and the thing is, the pillars are what? MCing, DJing, graph, breaking, and I'm missing the fifth one. Producing? Is it DJ? Or there's a fifth pillar, but I say this all to say graffiti for sure. We know that for sure. That's without a question. We're in there, like swimwear, we're contributing. DJing, for sure. Got a lot of legends in there. Breaking, absolutely. We're right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, baby.
And then on the MCing, we just haven't had in terms of like specifically Mexicans, we just haven't had that mainstream breakthrough quite yet. But it's knocking at the door because
Who's been the best Latino artist of all time? Not King OG. Come on, let's be real.
best Latino.
Not when we're talking Mexicano, we're talking about Latino.
In hip hop.
In hip hop,
Yeah, Big Pun, right?
Pun. I would
Big
say
Pun.
Pun. Pun is major, man. That deep cover, with him and Fat
Bro.
Joe is epic. And yeah, who would have known? Who knows what would have happened? Had his career played out a longer time.
What'd you think about the when we had the Dodgers game, bro? And we had Ice Cube come out on one side, and then we had what was homie at the
I don't know.
Joe?
Oh, yeah, Fat Joe in the New York. Yeah, the New York side.
Yeah, I mean,
the World Series.
I fuck with Fat Joe. I think he's dope, but obviously Ice Cube's hit a little bit harder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That goes without question. And I mean, it was just our time. That's it.
So, and I'm throwing different things at you, brother, because I'm kind of like in rapid fire right now.
Yeah,
know
no,
what I
you
mean?
good.
I'm like a fucking machine gun, dog. I'm like a fucking Russian. But when you were part of the Nipsey Hussle camp that you're still a part of now.
Yeah.
Excuse me, guys. You were able to you seen some things you never seen before, bro. Mm-hmm. Victory Lap. I mean, you were on private jets, brother. Come on, dog. Give me some shit, dog. Give me some shit, bro. Give me some stories, my dog. That's all I always ask.
I mean, like I said, from us meeting in 2008 to then partnering in 2010 to then Nipsey doing the $100 mixtape, the Proud to Pay, a Crenshaw mixtape that Jay-Z purchased 100 copies of the 1,000 that we
Wait,
got.
say that again. Say that again. You said that quick. Say that again.
Okay. Yeah, so there was
The who purchased?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z purchased.
Yeah,
Jay-Z
100
purchased.
copies.
Yeah, so Nipsey. So
And that's iconic right there,
that's
right?
definitely iconic. So here's the story, right? So 2010 is the marathon, right? That's like a turning point in Nipsey's career. Because at this point, he goes from being with Epic Records to going indie, and the Bullet series gets closed out with, you know, a new chapter. Now it's the Marathon. Still has a lot of remnants of, you know, the core things that people love about Nip, but now is a notch above, I think, right? I think a lot of people would consider the same, and you start to see even a wider audience adopt, you know, the movement and the music. Because that was one thing with Nip, was once he did Volume 1, 2, and 3, he said what he had to say, and I think there was very specific expression that had to be made on those projects, but issue that was happening was like, bro, I think the way it's being received, or the way that the energy that this music brings out is not what I'm trying to put out there. You know, because every time we go to shows, there's issues. People are trying to test it. It's like, and that's not what I represent. That's not what I want to put out. So then comes the Marathon. Again, it still has the street essence and core in it, but it has a much more broader message. And now you start to see, you still see the street guys, but then you see, you know, your everyday, you know, person, you know, pulling up to the show, or people that are students, or people that are athletes that are now able to, you know, lay claim to the music and the branding and the identity that he represents.
Yeah.
So things started to take a shift. So that's 2010. Then we go into 2011, 12. He drops the Marathon Continues. Marathon Continues, it represents like a sonic shift where he's a lot more experimental, you know, with production and even with his vocals, which I thought was pretty dope. A lot more collaboration than he did on Marathon. Then 2013, like I said, he's thinking like, well, you know, at this point we're all feeling like, all right, it's time to drop the album, because at this point, you know, we're 5 years removed from what was supposed to be South Central State of Mind in 2008. Yeah. So we're thinking like, man, it's about time. Like, we want to see, you know, that mainstream reception and push, you know, for him. And again, he was patient with his process. He listened to the music. He put the music together, the project together, and was like, these are good, but these aren't quite what I'm looking for on Victory Lap, right? And the proof is in the pudding when you listen to Victory Lap.
What's your favorite song on Victory Lap?
Favorite song on Victory Lap? Ah, man, there's different ones for different reasons. Let's
play one right now. If you can play one right now, I'm gonna play one right now. Let's play one right now.
Man, I would say Grinding All My Life.
Let's play right now.
And get demonetized.
Yeah, no, I don't care. I'm gonna get demonetized on this platform. This podcast, I'm gonna get demonetized.
What was that?
Is the other song Windows Down or something? What's it called?
That's volume 2.
Let's hear the song.
Roll the
bro.
windows up. Yeah.
Let's hear the song. What is the song called again, brother?
Grinding All My Life. That's probably like the number one licensed song of Nipsey's catalog for sports.
Nice.
Everybody.
Work, they like,
For sure.
that shit's still going on everybody's shit.
Easy. Just still coming through. Lines are blowing up. Let me see if I could pull something up, because to the specific
Let me
song.
do this. Hold on real quick. Let me do this real quick. Okay, so what I got to do?
One slice.
It looks like an elementary school. This was just yesterday, by the way. They sent me this.
Sick, man.
Yeah, it's dope.
The boy's legacy is ridiculous.
Amazing, man.
Yeah. And you're a part of it, brother.
Oh man, I'm privileged to be, to play my part.
Play your part. Like the homie said, you gotta play your position.
That's it, man.
Your Victory Lap, bro, was a huge thing within the camp, right?
For sure. It was a monumental milestone, because it had been a decade in the works to put out a formal debut album. Every time we thought we were about to put out an album, things changed, and it was like, well, we're gonna do another mixtape. Not that there was anything against it.
Why did things change during the time?
I think Nip just wanted to zero in on that definitive concept of what he wanted to be as released as his debut album. And I think the songs that he was making, I think were good, but I think he was looking for great.
Yeah. I watched some interviews and it was saying like he was looking for like P. Diddy to give him alley oops.
I think that was the Breakfast Club. I think that was like a last minute thing that came about, you know, despite whatever, you know, has happened with him in his personal life. I mean, as far as his music prowess, his genius level, right?
Yeah.
And I think his body of work speaks to that. I don't think no one has to tell you that, right? And so I think Nipsey valued, you know, his opinion and other people's, like Leroy Cohen's opinion, because these people have had success. So he was, you know, an active learner in the sense that he would always be very inquisitive and always asking questions and always learning. He was not, you know, above, you know, like learning from somebody, you know, at any level of the game. He's always like that.
I mean, with this industry, bro, like what is this industry like for people that don't know? You know what I mean, that are tapped in right now. You know what I mean? Like, what does the industry consist of? Like, do you really need to know the Jew? You know what I mean? Do you need to know the?
Doesn't hurt, right? But I think this point is this is a different era to hustling than it was maybe 10 years ago. Certainly than it was 20 years ago, and absolutely than it was 30 years ago. Because now you have a new medium, and that's the internet, right? Where it's a democratization of media where anyone has access to do things on their own accord and curate things as they see fit. Case in point, here we are.
Woodstocks.
There you go.
There you go, baby. I like the way you do
and
that.
And so the thing is, like, I think more people have adopted the philosophy or the idea that of taking the slow grind and building your tribe little by little. And I think more people are understanding of the concept that there's riches and niches. Right? Before, everybody just wanted to go mainstream, get signed, and there's no guarantee that there's going to be any type of longevity in that, you know, because it might just be short-lived off of one song that, you know, captured a wide audience, and then you may lose them. Whereas if you build it little by little, such was the case with Nip, those people kept following him and kept telling other people, you know, so that loyal tribe grew, you know, organically, as they say. And that, I think, made a world of a difference. And it was all the right timing to have put the album out in 2018 as opposed to too early, where it might have not been the definitive project for him.
And you were in private jets with him?
One time, I went in the private jet because we went in the Puma jet in 2019. Actually, February of 2019, we're flying back from Charlotte. We were out there for All-Star Weekend. We had a couple of commitments with Puma and a couple like club hostings while we were out there. And it just so happened we flew in commercial. We didn't fly private. You know, we were financially sound. You know, I think that would have been the next step. But we were, you know, flying as a team, however we had to fly, you know, to get to point A to point B.
Yeah.
And so the private jet came about because I think there was a layover, or the Puma jet just so happened to find itself in Charlotte, and the company extended that to us on our leg back to LA. You know, of course we accepted it. You know what I'm saying? It was a dope opportunity to share, you know, with the team that was traveling. And one of the cool things about that particular moment is that I had tweeted in like 2012 or 2010, I look forward to eating or to having a chocolate abuelita and eating conchas on the PJ. And so when this opportunity, when I see the email come through, I say, we gotta make it happen. So I went to like the outskirts of Charlotte to a mercado, and I picked up some conchas. I picked up some chocolate abuelita, not the bars, but the powder. I didn't even know there was a powder, but that was easier to prepare probably on the airplane. I bring it back, and there was a whole moment that we had that eventually went viral when I posted it. But I thought it was important because it was a literal moment of breaking bread, you know, on the PJ up in the air. And Hustle's the one actually that had asked to play some corridos just on his own accord. People think that maybe that was my playlist. That was him, like, hey, let's play some music. And he's like, put some, you know, he just went search some corridos. I'm not even specifically sure who the artist was, but it was just a fun moment, you know, with the team. It's a moment like, okay, we've rose another notch in the game. You know, like it's within sight. You know what we've been working towards. You know,
Ever trip on you on being Mexican?
who him?
Yeah.
He loved Mexican people. He loved Latinos. He loved people in general. Obviously, you know, as a black man,
Mexican though, bro.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
because some of his enemigos might be Mexican.
No, I think in his situation in particular, like he loved Mexican people. I mean, he did a nod to Mexicans by doing like an interpolation of Tupac, where it wouldn't be LA without Mexicans in the FDT track.
Fuck Donald Trump
And
with YG.
Exactly. So, I mean, he put one of the people closest to him was Mexican, myself. You know what I'm saying? And and growing up, you know, just like any neighborhood that's either, you know, that's in South Central is black and brown. So it's always gonna be friends coming up that were Mexican, neighbor that used to look out and make some food. You know.
How do you feel? How do you feel in regards to the gangbang culture, where there's
when it comes to
black and brown?
Man, we fell in the trick bag. That's what happened. We fell in the trick bag where we working against each other.
Go, baby.
We went on
We fell in the trick bag?
We fell in the trick bag, brother. We're the two people that, you know, we grow up in the same environments, the same neighborhoods, the same lack of resources, and we're pinned against each other. It's fucked up, man. I don't subscribe to it one bit. And I think that we gotta grow beyond that. And I know there's a lot of things that are complicated. I know there's a lot of things that, you know, happen behind the walls. That
Let me ask you something. You're talking about complicated behind the walls. If you went to the county jail right now, who would you be running with?
Well, I'd probably be with the Southsiders, right?
Okay.
I think that's inherently where I would be. Or maybe because I'm Mexican national, I'd be a paisa. I don't know.
Who would you want to run with?
Man.
Who would you want to run with? You want
I
to
would
run with the
I would never
Southsiders?
want to find myself in the jail, brother.
100%. But we do think about these things. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
Man.
We do think about these
Are you a
things.
Southsider?
This
or are
is
you
the
a
thing.
paisa, bro?
I have no affiliation, so I don't even know.
No, exactly. But do you, if you were to go in the county jail, would you run Southside or paisa?
I couldn't even tell you, brother. I couldn't even tell you what the
What's
paisa lifestyle is
the-
different than the Southsider. I just know Southsiders is by convention usually Chicano, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And paisa is usually Mexican, but usually Mexican that are
Well,
not too far removed from the motherland.
Well, it's an easy way out for yourself.
What, paisa?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
No, it is. I'll tell you this right now. Looking at you straight in the
Yeah,
face, you
I think
smile.
I think based off
it's an easy way out
Yeah.
for you to say, you know what? I ain't fucking with these folks. These dudes
No,
are doing too
okay.
much. But I'll say you like this. I think you run Southside, bro.
I think because of my proximity to the culture, proximity to LA, proximity to people from different neighborhoods,
you represent with the city.
it would likely fall in that category. But
100%, bro. You
I'm
know
a
what?
fir-
No,
I'm a
bro.
firm be-
I
I'm
don't
a
want
firm-
to put you
hold
in
on.
this predicament, but
I'm
I'm
a-
going to say right now, bro, you are 100% a Southside.
I'm a firm believer in that words are powerful and you can manifest them. So we're gonna knock on wood for this.
Exactly.
Let's talk about some billionaire moves, and that's where we headed.
100%. Come on, my dog.
brother.
Let's go right now. Yes.
But I understand. But yeah, no, Nip loved
But
Mexican.
the cities.
Nip loved Mexican culture. You know, like there's a couple of stories that I can recount. But one, I remember we went a couple times to. Well, actually, the first time we went to a spot to eat some tacos in Placito Olvera, and he told me that his mom used to take him there back in the day. So he loved Mexican food. Anytime we could get Mexican food, he ate. In fact, I remember this was a wake up call for me. So I had to excuse my ignorance at the moment because we were riding around as we would oftentimes around the city. You know, from the store to the studio or just driving around. You know, bro liked to drive around the city a lot. And there was an instance in which one of his homeboys called him and said, hey, he had him on speakerphone. He's like, hey, bro, I'm about to, you know, my mom's about to, my birthday's coming up and my mom's going to cook some food. So cook some tacos, you know, for my birthday.
Who said that? Who said that?
His homeboy that was on the phone, right? So I was thinking, per my personal experience and reference, if my mom cooks, it's usually traditional food. You make mole, tamales, whatever the case may be, right?
Baby. Let's go.
That's from my experience,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So then I asked, once the phone went off, I said, bro, I'm sorry, you had the phone on speaker. I'm like, your homie you were talking to, he's Mexican. He said, no, he's black. He's like, and I was like, oh, and then I explained to him, I thought, because of the taco situation. He's like, nah, bro, tacos, everybody eats tacos in LA. And I said, you're right. And that to me,
I want to say this, fools. As far as
What?
get my crowd size. As far as I'm concerned, bro, Nipsey Hussle's a Southsider, bro.
Nipsey, like I said, he was unique.
He a Southsider, bro. He running, hey, bro. If Nipsey Hussle, he running with the homies. Go ahead.
People, no, Mexicans and Southsiders and everybody loved him. And you see that in the consumers coming to the shows, coming to the stores. You see a bunch of homies, without a question of doubt. And that's because of the message.
How important is that nowadays? And you talking about consumers,
Yeah,
right? And the consumers is the people that are paying for the shit.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm a consumer.
right.
You know what I mean? And I've been a consumer for a long time, but for a long time we didn't get respect, bro.
Right.
We didn't get respect for the people that we're consuming for, and right?
To a degree, I think it came in the sense that the consumer wouldn't be accounted for as part of the overall cultural movement.
Well, let me
capacity.
tell you this. Let's have this conversation. Let's have this debate between me and
let's
you.
do it.
Me and Jorge, we're gonna have this debate right now.
Sure.
Mr. Jorge, we've been supporting hip hop for a long time.
Supporting is one part. We've also
Well,
been
no, buying the
participants.
tickets. Buying the
on
tickets.
the buying part, yes, okay.
Buying the tickets, bro.
Yeah.
When you go to a hip hop venue and you look at the crowd, who's there, bro?
We are, for sure.
Majority? Who's the majority?
Majority in the cities, again, in the cities in which we are in high volume.
Okay. High
you'll-
volume
you'll-
and saying
you'll
this-
go in certain places.
It's a Mexicano audience that
If
is
you're in LA,
supporting these
absolutely.
individuals.
And if you're in LA or any coastal city up and down the West Coast, for sure.
Bro, fuck coastal, fuck all the other shit. We're right here in the city.
In the city, for sure. Latinos. All the way.
Latinos.
Yeah.
100%, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Heavy.
So we're supporting these men. Then so that's been the argument in regards to like why have some of our guys have not been in the forefront of some of these things.
Why we haven't had like a breakthrough artist, like a mainstream?
Yeah. Well, who's the breakthrough? Who's the breakthrough artist right now? I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Breakthrough artist,
Come on,
Latino?
Lucky.
Right now, huh?
Come on.
What? Who's a breakthrough artist right now?
In hip hop, that's Mexican or Latino in general?
Latino in general.
That's a tough one, man. You said who? Peso? Peso's on his way. Peso's on his way. He's captivated a young audience.
I mean,
Casey,
Lefty,
why didn't you say me no? Hold on, right?
that's why.
Why?
Your
did
slurred speech.
And Peso was featured on the Kendrick album, so I think that speaks volumes to that. I think and he's young. He's got a long runway, to continue to ascend. I think he's one of them. I think there's a lot of that can break through. I just think we got to support it like we support all the other artists. I think it's important. If we want a front runner and we think someone is deserving and someone's music is that powerful, then by all means we should support it.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna end this right now because Casey said I was slurring.
You good?
I mean, and I might have been slurring.
Yeah.
I mean, and I respect my boy right here. I mean, but I want everybody to give it up for Jorge
Peniche.
Peniche. Let's go, baby. Thank you, brother.
brother.
It's been dope, dog.
Come on, appreciate
Thank
you.
you so much, dog.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you, dog.
Come on.
We already know when to end it, and we love you guys. We are out of here.